30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
I will let her eat half a jar if I can eat half as spicy wings. If I
No. That I'm looking forward to quite.
There's no bargaining allowed as the boss. You're not gonna let us do that.
That one he's not getting out of.
I've never seen the true face of a coward like I saw when I heard Perloff talking about the spicy, all this shit. True fear. You seem a little worried, Maggie.
I'm hiding it.
Is
Deathly
very
afraid.
scared,
Yes.
like a child who is told that there was a monster under the bed. That's how
Boogeyman is here.
Yeah.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
What a day for the Maggie and Perloff show. The culmination of something huge. No, I'm not eating another jar of jelly. No, today the Carson Wentz poster gets destroyed. We did it. America. We got there together. Meanwhile, we got a lot of sports to do. Hey, Andrew Perloff, how are you?
I'm sad. I will miss the Carson Wentz poster. It has traveled around. It's followed me throughout my adult life. First, it was in my office at Sports Illustrated a long time ago, and then it went to my parents' house, and then it went briefly to my apartment. And I'm like, I can't have this thing in my apartment.
I know, so you burdened
it's
it
too
on us.
awesome. So I put it in here. How did it get? My question is, how did it get from our back office to the set? It couldn't have
That
been.
was you. You. Don't try to backtrack now. This is an Andrew Perloff production.
You're telling me that I actually walked in and put. I don't think so. Doesn't sound like me. Because I do nothing on set design.
No, you had it. You brought it in, and I remember thinking, this is ridiculous because Jalen Hurts just took your team to a Super Bowl. Why are we putting Carson Wentz up there? It was 100% you. I don't want this in the studio, which is why today it's getting destroyed. About an hour from now, if you want to watch it, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. There are Vice scripts around here.
Yeah.
There are, should I just reveal it now? This customized Louisville Slugger bat that was sent to me by the amazing people at Louisville Slugger. It's got my name on it. And this bat has been approved by management to take down the Carson Wentz poster.
Now, let me just ask you your honest opinion.
Yeah.
All the stories about Carson Wentz rejuvenating his image by working out with quarterback guru John Gruden. Does that give him a second life here? Because when you want to rehab your image, you go work out with John Gruden.
You go straight to the man himself, Mr. Teflon John Gruden. It's amazing that he's in the news today for that. We couldn't have planned it any better.
I was reading the headlines last night, and I'm like, wow, you know what? This is going to stink to see Carson get destroyed like that. I think he's going to be okay next year. Then the John Gruden, hanging out in Tampa Bay with John Gruden, I'm like, oh, Carson's lost. There's just nothing good that can happen out of that.
I feel like the two of them are going to go off and start their own league or something. Anyway,
I wish we had a John Gruden poster to destroy as well. That would be fun.
We could print one out. Maggie and Perloff. Okay, so that happens about an hour from now. If you want to watch it, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. That's how this whole thing started in the first place. The people watching the show didn't want Carson Wentz. The other people who use the studio didn't want Carson Wentz in here. So today, Carson's gone.
Poor Carson.
I know. This is not personal. It appears to be, but it's really not. It's more about...
It can't get any more personal.
Well, it isn't. I mean, it is and it isn't. It's going to be hard to explain, especially I love it if someone's tuning in for the first time today. Like, that'd be my favorite. We actually do talk sports on this show, but for now.
Are you saying Carson Wentz is not sports? He's not even. You guys think so lowly of Carson Wentz. It's unbelievable.
It's just it's not personal, but it is. It's hard for me to explain because Carson Wentz is basically like bad mojo. He's not someone who you would pick to be in your locker room. He's not a great leader in that way. And so we choose what we want in the studio. We're not a desperate place that needs to fill up the space. He shouldn't have gotten this kind of billing.
Have you considered that maybe the problem with Carson Wentz was not Carson Wentz? Look at the two teams he was at. Indianapolis, is that exactly a bastion of stability right now? And Washington. Patrick Mahomes would be terrible in Washington. So I think Carson gets a bad rap. And
Philly, they just were in the Super Bowl. And they were in the Super Bowl with him there.
It didn't work out in Philly. There's a lot of reasons. But I'm not holding Indy and Washington and the fact that nobody wants to sign him right now 100% against him. I'm going to be a little sad. That being said, I do want to participate in this and take a whack at the poster.
I was going to say, you're dressed like the character Michael Bolton from Office Space. So clearly you want to, be a gangster on this poster.
It's fun to destroy things, and I am looking forward to that. And again, it's nothing personal. Nothing personal when we bash the likeness of your image with a baseball bat.
Yeah, it's just how it is. RPC in the chat, today is Destruction Day. You are right about that, sir. Or ma'am. I don't really know much about RPC, quite frankly. But yes, you're right. Today is Destruction Day, Demolition Day here on the Maggie and Perloff show. Okay, one thing that we didn't get to from yesterday that we should have, our pal Jay in Alabama called about it, and it's about the 2024 SEC schedule that got released yesterday. And my biggest takeaway was really about Texas. And in 2024, so not this upcoming season, but the next season, I imagine that's going to be the Arch Manning season. Now, Arch could start the beginning of this season. It's Arch Manning. I mean, no one's going to bat an eyelash if somehow he rises up the depth chart and takes over the starting role. But if he is not starting this year and ends up starting in 2024, he's got a juggernaut of a schedule, I think, for what could presumably be his first season starting in the SEC.
Okay, I mean, every SEC schedule is a juggernaut. So how is this, how did it fall the wrong way for Texas, in your opinion?
Having to play Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, of course, Arkansas, and A&M. Two rivalries that now get rebooted in the state of, for the University of Texas, and those are happening on the road. Not to mention, let me just add this cherry on top. Texas starts the season in the Big House playing Michigan, obviously not an SEC school, but the best Big Ten school. Between that and Ohio State right now, they can vie for 1 and 1A.
Oh, yeah.
That's a crazy schedule for Arch Manning. That is getting thrown in the deep end of the pool.
Well, I think every SEC, sounds a little light on the SEC. Georgia, okay, impossible, but at least they're coming to Texas. So you get a little bit of advantage. But where's Alabama? Where's LSU?
Well, that's going to be for 2025.
Right. I think that's the heart. And the Tennessee, that triumvirate seems to me, I mean, we're projecting forward 2 years, but I don't mind having, you said Mississippi State, right? You don't get Lane Kiffin.
Mississippi State finished with a better record than Ole Miss last year.
Yeah, but we know Ole Miss is a better program, I think. And also, Arkansas doesn't scare me at all. They never stay near the top. And I think, honestly, you could have done a lot worse. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, of course it's brutal, but it's not the most brutal because there's a lot of winnable games. Also, one thing that works out for them, the Oklahoma game is a neutral site game. That's one road game where they don't have to really go on the road. And they go to Vandy for one of their road games. So the home road split. The other thing, too, is 2024, I believe you're into the 12-team playoff. You can afford it. Nobody's going to care if you lose to Georgia. It's going to be at the point where they can afford a loss or two. Honestly, I'd rather have those two, that really, really hard Georgia game and then a bunch of winnable SEC games and go boom, 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 Alabama, Tennessee.
LSU.
Because Florida's not doing anything. What is Florida doing?
Okay, but are we sure that these are gimme games on the road between A&M and Arkansas?
No, but I mean, it's a lot easier to go those places than Tuscaloosa and probably Baton Rouge.
Well, okay, but we're talking about degrees because this is also a rivalry that exists between Texas and Texas A&M, and one I think is, quite frankly, people are excited gets rekindled here and reignited. And then Arkansas, this is a rivalry that goes back to the 1930s or whatever.
That's who you're afraid of is Arkansas in all these teams?
I'm just saying that they did not do Texas tons of favors here. Yes, they gave them Georgia at home, but that in Florida at home. But beyond that, there's a lot of tough games on this schedule. And if this is going to be the Arch coming out party, which I don't know if it's going to be, it might not, he's going to have the most attention on him in college football. I don't think people are understanding what kind of tidal wave of Arch Manning hype is about to descend upon us.
Well, I think that's the best they could hope for. Was what happened, because I know
I'd rather play Alabama right now than Georgia.
Probably, but it's 2024. That's pretty close. I mean, Oklahoma has the same problem. Oklahoma gets in 2024 Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, LSU, then Auburn and Ole Miss, Missouri. That's okay, but honestly, I don't think there's any easy path here, and at least they didn't get. Because I think Alabama's going to be dominant. I think LSU is going to be a top 5 team by then. They're getting nothing but better, and I think maybe we differ on this. I think Tennessee is a growing juggernaut there, because I think their coach Heupel is amazing.
I want to see it for one more year. Can I see it for one more
They're
year?
Going to be great this year.
I hope that they are great this year.
Yeah.
It's college football's better when Tennessee's good.
Yeah.
I'm not rooting against them by any stretch, but I want to see it for another year.
They're 3. I mean, listen, if you look at this year's rankings, then all the teams, it's Georgia 1, and then you got Alabama's in the top 10, Tennessee's in the top 10, and LSU's in the top 10. None of those teams you mentioned are anywhere. Florida is nowhere to be seen right now. Who knows what A&M's going to be? Who knows if Jimbo Fisher will be there?
Yeah, well,
Arkansas doesn't scare me. Kentucky certainly doesn't scare me. I feel like the way SEC is going, that the top schools are not on that schedule, except for Georgia, who's ridiculous.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. By now, you've had about less than 24 hours, I guess, to digest this new SEC schedule. Divisions gone. Now you get 8 conference games, probably soon to be 9, but 8 conference games for now, and it's going to rotate a bit. You're going to have some protected rivalries, of course, but for the first 2 years, much like USC and UCLA go into the Big Ten, it's going to be like Oklahoma and Texas are going to play everybody within the first 2 years. So again, some new rivalries maybe on the slate.
Yeah, what I'm dying to see is how good are Texas and Oklahoma against these SEC teams. There's really not a lot of history to tell. So are they going to be,
who's more likely to win an SEC title? Who's the quicker one to win an SEC title if they're going to win one?
I don't. Neither.
Well,
maybe Texas. I would say Texas has a higher upside. They had Arch. Oklahoma was really kind of deflating last year. When Lincoln left, it felt like any hope of having a great all-around team left. So I would say Texas. But here, can I paint one scenario? What if they've been doing very well in the Big 12, but that doesn't translate at all? Kind of like when Nebraska jumped to the Big 10 all those years ago, it didn't translate. It's going to be really interesting. To me, that is even more so than USC, UCLA. How do those 2 teams fare in the SEC? I mean, the truth is they might lose all those games you just said.
I don't think they're going to.
But I mean, would you be more surprised if Texas and Oklahoma were disappointing, or Texas and Oklahoma went on a really fast run? I'd be more surprised
if they went on the fast run.
That would really surprise me.
I think it's going to take a little bit of time. Two-Ton Tony is in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Maggie should put the bat down. Craig said maybe she's about to practice on Perloff. I would never, first off. I kind of like the bat in my hands now. This is the Carson Wentz destroyer method.
Yeah, you got a little bit of De Niro and Untouchable. They have a dated reference there.
It is very menacing.
Is it menacing? Because it's a black Louisville Slugger bat. Like, I'm not messing around here.
It doesn't matter what color or what type of bat it is. The fact that you're holding the bat the entire time is very menacing.
It's pretty, it's got some, this is not light, I don't know if it has the weight, how many ounces that thing is, but.
I got to be honest. Is that the bat you would use, say you're playing softball?
I don't know. God, no. I can barely get this thing around. This is it feels like a weighted bat, even though it's not.
Yeah, do we need a metal bat to get, is this going to do the job on the Wentz poster?
Well, we're all going to find out together now, aren't we? youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio.
This isn't college baseball. This is the pros, right? We can use the wood bat.
This is an Omaha.
Bing.
So, Samter, have you
Nothing like the ting of the bat.
Have you figured out yet how we are rigging the poster up in a way that I was fine with Perloff holding it? And I said I'd be very careful that I wouldn't also take out half of Perloff with the poster.
Listen, we have to get an EMT for spicy wings. We don't have an EMT for baseball bats and Carson Wentz posters. So being that we don't have any emergency personnel on hand, I do think that having somebody hold the poster is dangerous.
I can tell you right now, I watched Mike try a couple setups, Maggie. He does not have any idea how to do this. He was trying to put clamps in places where clamps did not go. Well,
you got about an hour.
And you keep saying, oh, it's all going to be okay. I don't think you're thinking this one through, Maggie. I don't think this is all going to be okay. I think something is going to get broken, either a human being or an expensive piece of equipment. We are headed a dangerous way.
Listen, this is all called sacrifices for the greater good. This is a sacrifice for the cause. We said we were destroying the poster today. We're destroying it. Management said no to most of my suggestions on how I wanted to destroy it. So here we are, me, you, and a bat.
How much does that monitor behind us cost? We should maybe price some things out.
a couple thousand. You want to Price is Right this whole thing?
Yeah,
Broken
because I
bones
think
heal. Monitors are tough to replace.
Yeah, that'll determine a lot about where we place this poster.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Again, we're going to destroy the poster in about an hour, so if you want to get on board for that. If not, you're going to be able to get this all in an auditory way. If you're just listening on our amazing CBS Sports Radio affiliates, it's going to come through what's going on. The destruction, the devastation, it's going to be able to be picked up through the airwaves.
Oh, boy.
There we go.
Oh, boy.
And we're off and running. You want to weigh in on the SEC schedule, the football schedule for 2024. I believe Texas not done any favors here. And if this is going to be the first Arch Manning season, it's going to be a doozy. Coming up, Tom Brady is serious about his minority ownership in the Raiders, but how hands-on is he going to be? Tom was talking about that recently. We'll get that to you. And a big milestone for the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, not a good one.
We'll tell you what it is next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, 855-212-4CBS. We're hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Maggie, I think your sort of sports conspiracy thinking has leaked into my brain because I saw the headline about Tom Brady having a light touch with Raiders ownership.
Yeah.
And my first thought was, light touch because he's not going to be able to quarterback and own simultaneously.
Right.
So I immediately see a sinister plan because Brady commented to the Associated Press that he does not plan to play an active role as a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. So, in my mind, the only thing that really, really matters is how does this get him onto the field for the Raiders? And I couldn't
He's
really
going to have a light touch because he's going to be in the huddle. That's why.
Yeah. I mean, you can't play quarterback and be a very active owner, so that's nothing but trouble. So, part of me I was trying to wrap my head around that because you have convinced me that there is always a chance that Tom Brady will come back.
Yes.
Do you think that's what this headline is about, or is there something else going on here?
So Tom Brady's saying he's going to have a hands-off approach on his pending minority ownership into the Las Vegas Raiders, right? And to me, again, this is more Brady just head fakes. The only reason why Brady has to say this is because if he's actually going to get in the broadcast booth with Fox, he can't be this really hands-on owner. Like that doesn't fly. If Jerry Jones can't call an Eagles-Giants game. That's not how this is going to go.
So why is he even doing this then?
So he's going out of his way, I think, to tell people, or in this case, it was an interview with the Associated Press. I think going out of his way to say, I'm not going to have much influence because the appearance of that for Fox is going to look really, really bad if he's calling games.
Then why is he buying a minority stake in the Las Vegas Raiders? What's he getting out of this?
Well, money, I think most notably.
You think it's an investment?
Yeah, I do. I think it's an investment.
Like buying a cattle farm or something? It's buying the Las Vegas Raiders? That feels like a small reason to do this.
Have you seen what teams are being sold for these days? $6 billion? I mean...
Yeah, but the Davis family's never going to sell the Raiders. That's not how he's going to make money off of this. I don't think... You think it's a money-making thing? I don't think that it is at all.
I think he wants an entree into ownership.
Yes, I think exactly, either to own the Raiders down the road or to own another team. I don't think it's about an investment. I think this is just building an ownership thing. So
here's a question.
Yeah, but okay.
Who's Mark Davis giving this to?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I'm assuming he's got kids. I don't know.
But how old is Mark Davis?
I mean, I don't think he's young, but at the same time...
He's 68. He probably's got another 14 years.
Well, I don't want to speculate on that, but I think that Brady wants to do this because eventually he wants to be an owner. I also don't believe that we've seen the last of him playing in the NFL.
Okay.
So...
Yeah, I'm more convinced now. Now I'm feeling really good that he's done. And this actually, if you really try wrap your head around this, if what you say is that this is so he can be a better broadcaster on Fox, So that means he's dedicating himself to being a broadcaster. He's got this minority stake in the Raiders, which is immediately going to box him out from playing quarterback anyway, because the owners would have to double approve that. There's just so many impediments, and dude is old, Maggie.
I said
he's old.
The appearance on Fox that he's not compromised. I don't know if he's actually ever getting to Fox, but that's the latest with Tom Brady. Now, the other part about this...
Wait. Why do you not believe this man? He just said, I have to focus on my Fox duties. He said that yesterday to the Associated Press.
Okay, did he also not tell us he was retiring last year?
Yes.
And then he said, I'm not retiring anymore.
Yes, he made the one bad retirement call.
Okay, so the door is open.
Well,
now,
I mean, let's look at some other people who made bad retirement calls. You're telling me you don't trust Brett Favre after he flip-flopped?
I know. How could I trust that guy? Came back 3 different times. Now, it's for Stu, who's our diehard Raider fan who's on the show, this is a double whammy because you're getting Brady presumably not to play quarterback, even though Jimmy G is still recovering from a major surgery. And now he's not even going to be hands-on, so you get no part of Brady. You don't get the on-the-field, like, awesomeness and more immortality, and you don't get the off-the-field acumen, apparently, and his smarts to run a team that most people believe had the worst offseason in the entire NFL.
Might help them in tanking for Caleb Williams.
Brady being hands off.
Yeah, while Brady not playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Brady's not going to want to join a 6-11 Raiders team. I mean, he's not going out like that. But there are smart people there. I mean, Dave Ziegler's the GM. He was presumably a hot guy. Probably could have gotten a lot of different jobs.
Yeah, you know those post-Patriot guys always do amazing.
I know. But it's not like Brady. And also, how do we know Brady as an owner would be any good? How would he? Great players don't always make great GMs, so we don't know what Brady would be like.
That's true. Yeah. But if you're giving me the option between Brady and Mark Davis, I might want to try Brady. Just give it a spin.
Well, listen, Stan Kroenke just won another title, and that dude doesn't seem to know anything about anything. So I don't know that the owner is actually going to affect the football.
He knows how to use a mic, that's for sure.
I know that guy.
Again, I need actual terms here. When are you going to be convinced that Tom Brady is done? Does he have to be 63 years old?
No, I think when he makes it to Canton for the Hall of Fame induction. So I have a 5-year window.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, T.O. got inducted, and he still wants to come back. It's just nobody wants him. 855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227. Let's get to our Cowboy Quickie for today. Perloff, do you have any idea what today is?
Actually, I do. Today is an important anniversary.
Do you want to tell everybody?
10,000 days since the Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl. How this became a reason to celebrate in Philadelphia, I have no idea, but Eagles fans are celebrating everywhere. How can it be 10,000 days? It was 1996.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Who is ever calculating this kind of stuff in days?
And how do we know they're accurate, too?
27 years and days? What does it matter?
Can someone multiply 27 times 364.3 or whatever it is?
I looked it up on the internet. How many years is 10,000 days? And it spit back out at me 27.39726.
Okay, so it's been 10,000 days. It doesn't feel...
But no one else gets the 10,000 days treatment. How many days has it been since the Vikings have won a Super Bowl? More than 10,000.
Forever.
Yes,
never. They haven't won.
0.
That's what I'm saying. We could do this for anybody.
Yeah, it was more fun to do it to the Cowboys.
I guess.
I got to be honest, it doesn't feel like any more than 8,000 to me.
Yeah, last
2,000 really flew by.
Yeah, you really barely feel them.
Yeah, the question is, it's going to be, real question, is it going to be another 10,000 days?
Want to take that bet? Do they go 10,000 more days? No.
I'm not sure I see a Super Bowl on the immediate horizon. Yeah, this is funny. Once again, I always tell you, they're the focal point of the NFL. They're the only team that would actually count days since their last title.
That's your Cowboy Quickie. 10,000 days. That's until I looked it up and actually to say, 27 years and put a different number to it, it was so abstract to me. It didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I mean,
sounds like a lot, but compared to what? I don't know.
They were really lost for a while there, too. Remember the Dave Campo years?
Yeah.
At least, things aren't perfect now. They can't get over the hump, but they're a little better than they've been at certain times. Since, what Jerry's mistake was? To let Jimmy Johnson out of the building.
Oh, we know that.
And it's going to, you're going to look back in the history books and say it cost you 10,000 days without a ring.
How are those 10,000 days feeling? I mean, listen, in those 10,000 days, though, Jerry's become a quintuple billionaire. How much money do you think he's got?
I think infinite.
Yeah, right.
I think he was pretty good before. Too.
I know he was an oil man, so I'm sure he was fine before. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where you can watch the show. If you tune in right at this very second, I've got a bat over my right shoulder. You're wondering, Maggie, why are you holding that bat? Well, because today is Destruction Day here on the Maggie and Perloff Show. The Carson Wentz poster finally gets destroyed. We're going to do that in a little under an hour. Let's go to the phones, 855-212-4CBS. We're talking about the SEC schedule that got released for 2024. Will is in North Carolina. He's got a thought on it. Hey, Will, how are you?
I'm all right. It's been a while since I talked to you, but real quick before I get to that, I got something for Andrew. Last week I went on vacation to Cherokee in North Carolina. It's like a like a Native American Indian controlled like casino in the mountains in North Carolina, and it's like basically because it's like Native American like owned or whatever, it's only operating like casino in North Carolina. But long story short, I was leaving Friday morning, but Thursday night I stayed out late, walking around the casino at like, I don't know, 1:30, getting ready to get on the escalator, and I see Allen Iverson.
No.
Get out of here.
That is so cool. Did you go up to him?
I called my friend immediately, but, I mean, he was at the table. I passed him, but he was walking to the table. So I took two steps, I took 2 or 3 steps walking by him, and I froze immediately. I was like, what the heck? I was like, dude, that is Allen Iverson. He was wearing, like, an old school, like, Devil Ray hat, like the one with the actual Devil Ray, and
yeah.
But I mean, I know I didn't want to bother him or whatever. But I mean, there was
how many people did he have with him?
That's the thing. Like maybe 1 or 2 people, no security or anything. So, I didn't want to mess with him. I mean, in the middle of gambling, hey man, can you give me a selfie? Put down your chips.
Yeah. Also, Will, do you know what happens if you pull out a phone at a blackjack table? They do not like that.
True. Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
No, that's a no-no.
I called my friend. He's like, just leave him alone. Yeah, I left him alone. But okay, I was leaving that morning or whatever, but I bet on the Angels and couldn't collect it because their game ended at 1 or 2 o'clock with the sports book closed, and they won or whatever, and Friday morning I was just checking out and leaving, and I wanted my money so I didn't have to mail it in. So I go to the cashier counter because that's the only thing open. It's right there where he was at, and he's still there.
Oh my God, there was more to the story.
That's
Iverson
awesome.
was there, same outfit?
Same clothes too, so I know he hasn't changed. He's up there at 10 o'clock in the morning.
And are you 100% sure it was Allen Iverson? You would bet your life on it.
I Googled it, and on Reddit, it was saying that he'd been there before. There's conversations that he'd been there before or whatever. But I didn't want to mess with him. But he was all alone in the morning. None of his friends was with him at all. And I could have asked him then because it was only just seriously him at the table.
You should have gone up to him and said, "Practice."
Because I'm sure nobody goes up and says that to him. That you would have been the first guy ever. I'm sure he loves it.
I thought about it, and I finally, a day or 2 later, what I should have said is, dude, in 6th or 7th grade, you're the only person I'd buy Reeboks for. I rocked playing basketball. I should have said that, but
there
anyway.
You go. Actually, no. Perloff, Will, thank you. Awesome story, and I hope you had fun on your vacation. Perloff doesn't think you should tell people who are legends that they're legends.
Oh, you were so sensitive when I said this yesterday.
But do you think that if Will went up to Allen Iverson and said, you're the only reason I bought Reeboks, maybe you didn't have to say in 6th grade. Maybe that makes him feel old.
No.
If you said you're the only reason I bought Reeboks, you're a legend. Do you think Allen Iverson would get offended by that?
No, but CeeLo, I need you to weigh in on this. If you have a broadcaster or a journalist of a certain age and you say, and you introduce him, say, and coming on the show, a real legend, a guy who's been covering this team forever, do you see some sensitivity on the person on the other end of that? Yeah.
Sure. Of course.
Of course.
But the gravitas, you've been covering the team for a long time. You know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And to call someone a legend, I don't think is that's not a negative.
I would agree. Usually that's not a negative connotation. Yeah.
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with it.
I do feel, though, that, if you emphasize it, it makes it feel like you do not, you're of yesterday and not of tomorrow.
Okay, so
that's what I would say.
Okay, so should I introduce this person and be like, this person's so new in the business, they have no idea what they're talking about. Let's welcome in so-and-so. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, you wouldn't introduce, for example, Woj is on the TV right now.
Legend.
You might not introduce Woj as a legend because you might say Woj is here because he's on top of everything. Like
Woj is a Woj bomb legend.
Legend in the news breaking business.
But legend feels like a past tense.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, something like.
Sorry, icon?
Think about the word legend like it's an old tale. It's a legend. You've heard it growing up. It was passed down.
I know, but we've updated that.
Yeah. I think it gets thrown around.
Maggie, if somebody said, you were going on a podcast and someone said, coming up is a real legend, so many years in the business.
I'd be like, if anyone called me a legend, I'd be like, I'd look behind me to see if like Susan Waldman was there. I don't have enough years in to be a legend. But if I did, I would understand why someone would say that. If I'm in the Hall of Fame, I would understand why someone would call me a legend.
I'm not saying it's a huge deal, by the way. I'm just saying that I understand. I think people bristle at that introduction a little bit. In fact, I know they do.
Well, I guess, am I like actively turning people off from the show by complimenting them? That doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't turn them off from the show. They everybody who we interview loves you. I mean, I've gotten a lot of people, my friends, and they all say, "Oh, Maggie's awesome." So it's nothing like
Liars.
that. It's just that particular style of introduction.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I got to tell you, I'm not sure it hits the person who you're talking to the right way.
The right way.
I'm watching you with that bat.
Yep.
You're gripping it tighter. I've been watching you going to take a swing at both of us.
This is the Louisville Slugger that the good people at Louisville Bats sent me once upon a time. Has my name on it. First and last.
Maggie Gray, legend of the game.
Legendary. The poster going down today is going to be legendary. Carson Wentz poster gets destroyed today. We do that in the next hour, so hang on. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio, or you can just listen to the show and listen to the destruction. We got a lot more, including a new team for one of the most polarizing players in all of sports. Who could it be? Where could they be going? We'll get to that in just a moment. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff after this CBS Sports Update with Chris Lopresti.
Sports Flash.
All right, we had Bruce Brown shirtless, Michael Malone rocking a flashy chain around his neck and taking shots on stage. Some of the scenes from the Nuggets championship parade in Denver celebrating their first ever NBA title. Meanwhile, Ricky Fowler is carving up Los Angeles Country Club round one of the U.S. Open. He's pushed it to 7 under par through 15 holes. Xander Schauffele not far behind at -5. Scotty Scheffler in the mix at 3 under par. And you've got Bryson DeChambeau and Max Homa both inside the top 10 currently as well. The Wall Street Journal reports the U.S. Department of Justice has opened a review of that planned alliance between the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. NBA veteran forward Danilo Gallinari has reportedly exercised his $6.8 million option to return to the Celtics next season after nearing a full recovery from the torn ACL that caused him to miss this past season. He is set to make his Boston debut in the fall. Baseball-wise, you got the Rays and the A's getting set for their series finale in Oakland. In the meantime, final steps for relocation of the A's to Las Vegas, a signature from Nevada's governor, and MLB's approval, both of which are expected. On the scoreboard, you do have one game in progress, bottom half of the 8th. It's the Orioles at home leading the Blue Jays by a score of 3-2. I'm Chris Lopresti.
Looking for CBS Sports Radio online? Your favorite hosts and the best sports content and entertainment are available 24/7 on social media and YouTube, and in the palm of your hand with the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
'You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, you. Across the country, CBS Sports Radio. If you want to listen to the show and you missed some of it, you can always download the Maggie and Perloff podcast, wherever you get your podcast. If you want to watch today, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We got a fun one for you. The Carson Wentz poster goes down live on the show in less than an hour, Perloff. Perloff is dressed like one of the characters from Office Space, if that gives you a little bit of an indication of how this poster is going to get destroyed.
I'm actually getting excited. I was trying to defend the Carson Wentz poster because it is my poster, but destroying stuff is fun.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
So we're going to do that, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Okay, today, Nuggets parade happening in downtown Denver. Can we hear a little Mike Malone, who sounds a little mile high?
Hey, y'all tell me, is Brucey B going anywhere? Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Hey, we running this back. We ain't running this back. Hell yeah. Get live.
Just to paint the theater of the mind there, he's also wearing a T-shirt that says, put that in your pipe and smoke it, and it's a picture of the Larry O'Brien trophy. He said Bruce Brown. I wonder who's the pending free agent. I wonder if Calvin Booth knows that he was going to say Bruce Brown's not going anywhere, because Bruce Brown's about to make quite a bit of money.
Is he?
I think probably.
He's okay. I mean, listen. Yeah, I remember him in the Nets, right?
Yeah, he was a good player for the Nets.
Was he?
Yeah, he was. And he was actually pretty helpful in not the sweep against the Celtics. That wasn't good. But the year before that, when the Kevin Durant toe on the line.
I remember the story. Bruce Brown
good.
couldn't even find a team to sign him. I mean, he's the definition of a journeyman.
No, but that year when Harden was hurt and Kyrie was hurt
no, I know.
with Kevin Durant, he was good in the playoffs.
But honestly, I don't see that sounds nice, but I do not see the Nuggets paying up for Bruce Brown. Because when you have bottom line, when you have Jokic, you're going to have a lot of guys who can play like Bruce Brown.
Well,
I mean,
you heard Mike Malone at the parade. He said he's coming back.
It's like Vegas.
Yeah.
What happens at the parade stays at the parade. Like
is that the
nothing means
situation?
anything.
Yeah, I mean, by the way,
He just screamed it into a microphone. He said Bruce B's not going anywhere.
How many coaches and players say, let's run it back, and then like half the team is gone the next year anyway? Nothing that happens at a parade means anything.
Let's hear from Jokic, shall we? A guy who would rather be anywhere else than at this parade. How did he sound?
You know that I told that I don't want to stay on parade, but I want to stay on parade. This is the best life. Yeah, this is amazing. We're all gonna remember this our whole lives.
Okay, either two things. Either one, lying through his teeth, would rather be back in Serbia with the horses, and he's just lying to us. Or two, hey, when you win, it's pretty fun. This country can be fun, too. If you're a champion, you're going to get to party for 4 straight days. Like, it's not bad. It's not work. It's not a chore.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about Jokic's comments. Is some of this, could you chalk some of this up to English being his second language? And
I always like to give benefit of the doubt to that.
And I think he can't lie the same way other people do because he can't figure out how to say it the way he wants to.
Okay, here, I'm always a benefit of the doubt person. I appreciate when people try to speak a language that's not their own, and I think it's great, but his body language was the universal body language of get me the hell out of here. Meanwhile, according to Malika Andrews from ESPN, he has no idea where the finals trophy is.
I know. I love that story.
The MVP of the finals just gave the trophy to an equipment guy.
But where you and I differ is I think his sort of what is perceived as a laissez-faire attitude, I think it's a strength. He does not get in his head. He doesn't get caught up with any fears. He's just going out there and playing basketball and going home and riding his horses.
He's blissfully
I need to go home.
I need to go home. Even if English isn't your first language, I got that. 855-212-4CBS. Let's go to our pal Scott in California. It has indeed been 10,000 days since the Dallas Cowboys last won a Super Bowl. Why anyone would tabulate that in days is beyond me. Scott, what's up?
Hey, guys. I haven't talked to you in a while. Good to hear you. I hope the jelly thing worked out because I didn't get to hear that. So you sound good, though.
Well,
it worked out for all of us. It didn't work out great for Maggie. She had to eat a jar of jelly.
Yeah. I mean, Scott, you missed out on a legendary moment. Luckily, you can watch it if you want to. Go back to YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio, and it's bronzed forever.
I need to do that. But real quick, last time I had a quarterback poster in any of my living spaces, his name was Fran Tarkington, and I was 10 years old. Mm-hmm. I've never been a fan of Carson Wentz ever since a guy named Nick Pohl stepped up and said, "Hold my beer, Philly, Philly." But my point is this: I'm a Viking fan, and earlier we were talking about the 10,000 days, and one of the first things, Maggie, I gotta go after you. You say, "When's the last time the Vikings? How many days has that been?" And I'm like, okay. Well, you've been there 4 times as a Buffalo Bills fan. I've been there 4 times.
Yep.
You were founded in 1960, and the Vikings were founded in 1962.
Oh, wow.
And that's all I can.
All right, so you got the Bills, Scott. Thanks a lot. I could have said Buffalo there, but forgive me. The Bills haven't been through enough this week. I also have to point out it's been more than 10,000 days since they've won a Super Bowl.
Did you notice you said, yeah, it was legendary? You're trying to mainstream legendary and not make a...
I'm reversing course on legendary.
Yeah, you're trying to make...
To me, not old, but just awesome.
Yeah, legendary. Legendary is, but calling somebody a legend... Yeah, it's definitely you're on the back nine.
Okay, there were times, maybe it might have been college, maybe post-college, right after college. Our intern Brooke's here today. Maybe she can tell me if she does this too. Where like a friend, I once sank 8 beer pong cups in a row. 8 in a row. Legend. I was called a legend that night. We immortalized it on the wall of whoever's frat house we were at. And in the moment, I was a legend. I was being called a legend. Say I drank like a whole whatever. Like, you can be a legend and be young and in the moment and just do cool things.
If you're a legend for doing one specific act that's different than calling somebody a legend for a significant amount of years of service doing something.
There's 2 different kinds of legends.
Yeah.
I think you're protesting pretty hard.
Yeah.
Legend wasn't that the name of a conference in the Big Ten at one point? Good thing they got rid of those.
Leaders and legends, I think, were the 2.
That was a really bad idea.
Yeah. Actually, you're right, but those were those were young men, so that's, or I guess was it all Big Ten sports, young men and women? So maybe it's okay.
RPC says Maggie's legendary bat, which I'm holding right now.
I have a question back to Will in North Carolina.
That was last segment. He ran into Allen Iverson at a casino.
He ran into Allen Iverson, and he didn't have the guts to say hi to Allen Iverson.
Yeah. And then the next morning, Iverson was still at the blackjack table, allegedly, and he still didn't have the guts to say anything.
I related to that story so much because I see celebrities all the time, and I do not have the guts to come up to them. Now, and I've been with you. You're a little better at it than me. For example, can I just give you 2 recent examples?
Yeah, sure.
Saw Bryan Cranston on the street.
Wow, look at you.
I saw him on the street. Met him through the Dan Patrick Show 10 times. Didn't have the guts to come up to him and say hi, even though I walked right past him.
Wait, but you've met him before?
Met him a number of times. He looked busy.
Well, if he looked busy.
So wait. Should I have gone up to him and said something?
Yeah, it's just can I get a strickle of fluoride?
All the way back to that, like he's done nothing since 1992.
I didn't want to bother him. And then, this one, I didn't bring it up on the show because I was embarrassed that I didn't say anything. Walked right past Matthew Stafford in the city of New York. And because I couldn't wrap my brain around that.
Yeah, that's odd. Like, I would not be expecting to see Matthew Stafford in New York.
Okay, phew. I felt bad. Of course, the Rams quarterback, because I walked by and didn't say anything. I've also met him a number of times.
Yeah.
I interviewed him once for 20 minutes. Like, I like him. He's super nice.
Yeah.
But I walked by and I'm like, is that Matthew Stafford? Would you have gone up and said something to them?
No. What I do is I say the person's name because I want to confirm it's actually them. So, like, the most recent one I had was I saw Matt Harvey, the former Mets pitcher, and I went, Matt? And he turned around like he was expecting me to be pushing a stroller with a 2-year-old that had a really strong right arm or something. But the fear on his face was just like, oh, hey, I'm a big Mets fan. So it was like, I just say the person's name to confirm it's actually them.
Did you just blurt it out, or did you just think about it and say, all right, should I say something? Should I say something? Or did you just instinctually say something?
No, I thought about it because I was waiting for my coffee, and he walked in, ordered his, and then walked out.
Because the one time I've been with you a couple
but I have done off the cuff.
Yeah, we walked by DJ LeMahieu on the street, and you're like, DJ. And he looked at you again with sheer terror and said hi, and kept walking on.
But so the story that you told us with DJ, different from Matt, was that you said DJ and you didn't know what to say next.
No.
So if you're going to throw out the name, you have to be prepared for the follow-up if they do turn around and it is them.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more awkward than yelling someone's name. Hey, Matt, they turn around, you're just like,
it is you.
Yeah, it is. Right? So that's a little bit weird.
You.
Also, Matt Harvey is notoriously awkward already. So that would be I don't know. Have you interviewed Matt Harvey?
I have, but it was a long time ago.
Right. Like that might be an awkward conversation anyway.
I wasn't going to bring it up. It's like, hey, remember when you were promoting some kind of watch or something and you came in at Sports Illustrated on 50th Street? Yeah, it was not going to.
So when you saw Stafford, Andrew, did you recognize him right away, or did you walk past him like, oh, wait, that was Stafford?
I literally had to go 10 seconds after. I'm like, I think that was Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Honestly,
that's acceptable because if you stop to turn around.
It was on the Brooklyn Bridge.
Tourist destination.
But why is Matthew Stafford and I think his wife, who I recognize from that video where her and Matt Ryan's wife were hanging out with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
Why would they be walking the Brooklyn Bridge? None of it sort of registered in my head.
How many New Yorkers are recognizing Matthew Stafford, though? Georgia, Detroit, Los Angeles.
But here's another possibility.
Probably a few.
Yeah.
What if it completely was not Matthew Stafford?
Well,
Because I also have a long history of thinking people are celebrities that I'm not. And you know that is true.
I've seen you mix up regular people, celebrities.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, are you sure it was Matthew Stafford? Could have just been some tall blonde guy?
There was a famous incident where there was a guy at a bow tie. I'm like, oh, well, that's got to be Clinton Portis. It wasn't Clinton Portis.
Oh, boy. All right, coming up in the next hour, we take this Louisville slugger to the Carson Wentz poster, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio if you want to watch it.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
PGA Tour could not look worse. They look like the most hypocritical losers possible. And now they look like fools because 15 months later, they're now taking all of that money that they called dirty. You can't spin faster on this.
It is impressive. This guy should run my company. I mean, he is.
Run for office.
He's got, yeah, I was about to say, has Jay Monahan thought about stepping down and running for president? Because he's got all the skills. Just to be able to turn that fast, that's a skill. To be that empty.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Speaking of golf, Ricky Fowler 7 under at the U.S. Open. Hey, welcome to Maggie and Perloff. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Big day, destruction day around here at the M&P show. Yeah, the different kind of D-Day over here. The Carson Wentz poster meets its maker today. We've been teasing it. We've been going after this for a long time. We asked for subscribers. We did a lot to get them on youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. The big payoff, destroying that poster.
You know, it's funny. Carson Wentz is probably going to be he's not on a team right now, so he will go to a situation where there's an injury or something. He's going to be on the field this year, and there's a chance he does well. And what if we had to get him on the show at one point? Would you feel guilty?
I think we'd have to come clean.
Oh.
It'd be hard to explain because this isn't personal, yet it feels kind of personal. By the way, it's going to happen in our next segment, so about 20 minutes from now.
You would introduce him and say, Carson Wentz, a legend.
The legendary quarterback, Carson Wentz. He's a legend on this show now.
Just, we're having a long-standing argument about whether it's cool to call somebody a legend or not.
Yeah, an aging person.
Or a
young person in the industry, or really anyone.
Well, Jeffrey Howell in the chat asked a very interesting question, Perloff. What would you say to Carson Wentz if you saw him on the street like you saw Stafford?
Another person I met, I would say, hi, Carson, where are you signing next year? Good luck. But I wouldn't say anything. So I'm afraid of celebrities on the street. I would say nothing.
You wouldn't say, I used to have a poster of you in my studio?
Yeah.
And one day we destroyed it. Nice to meet you.
You can leave that part out. I used to have a poster of you in my studio. That's enough.
Yeah, what would you...
That'd be more confusing. Like, what are you, the Buffalo Bills? Like, what are you trying to do here? You're not getting done what you want to get done.
But if you're interviewing Carson Wentz, you would really come clean with him, Maggie. You'd be like, listen, I have to be honest, we destroyed your poster. I had a great time doing it.
Well, it was one of the joys of our life. One of the most watched days of our show. I would probably tell him, you got to feel these situations out. If it's on the phone and the connection's not well or something, if we're at the Super Bowl and he's doing some Super Bowl radio row or he comes in the studio, you gotta tell him. You gotta risk that he might not like it, but I think you gotta come clean.
You know, he is the kind of interview who I think would not like it, but I think he would play ball and just try and get through the interview. Because that seems like Carson Wentz's interview style to me.
Yes, as long as my conscience is now clean, then what does it matter?
Because you could just not tell him. You ever think about that?
I feel like a fraud. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, a lot going on today. You got the Nuggets parade, which seems to be in full effect, especially for Michael Malone, who's out here really having a good time. Can you have like a vocal cord replacement surgery? Because between being an NBA coach and now screaming like that, they're going to be shredded. But Perloff, we also have to get to some NFL news, shall we?
Yeah.
And that is an interesting one involving I got Carson Wentz on the brain. Kirk Cousins, who said that he is not going to be negotiating any new deals with the Vikings
I think we'll probably talk about the contract next March, and until then, just focus on this season and the job to do right now.
There is no way we're doing this again, are we, with Kirk Cousins and the Vikings? There's not a chance that we do, another 1 year fully guaranteed deal and then another one. It's like this guy's living month to month in an apartment or something. Like at some point, this is not like a great idea for the Vikings. They have to at some point address the quarterback position and try to address it in a more long-term way.
Well, is the problem Kirk Cousins? I'm not sure it's that obvious that Kirk Cousins, you might be able to win with Kirk Cousins. His numbers are outrageous. He's won a playoff game. I don't think building around him is a ridiculous thought at all.
But they're not. Like, they're not offering him 3-year deals. They're not offering him 2 and a third-year option.
I think you have to see one more year with the new coach, Kevin O'Connell, and see if this is headed in the right direction. They were 13-4. Yes, I admit they're hitting a wall, kind of like the Cowboys are in the playoffs. They can't get past a certain point. But he is a good quarterback, or do you not think that?
He's 34 years old. I mean, at some point, though, don't you have to start thinking, well, maybe we want to find, I don't know, shoot for the moon for a real superstar. No disrespect to Cousins. He's made more money than anyone probably ever expected as a 4th-round pick out of Michigan State. But, I mean, you got Justin Jefferson. You have like this, Ferrari of a player, as a wide receiver. Kirk Cousins, that's fine. But do you want to pair him with a young quarterback and they can grow together and hopefully win you Super Bowl?
Yeah, although I will say being a receiver for Kirk Cousins is a good business to be in because that dude throws a catchable ball, has tons and tons of yards. I think Justin Jefferson, if he's smart, likes Kirk Cousins. But
I forgot about Jordan Addison, who they drafted in the first round.
So the thing about Kirk Cousins is he's good, but you have to have a great quarterback to win a Super Bowl in this day and age.
Well, I just saw Patrick Mahomes win one.
Mahomes won one, yes.
And Jalen Hurts wasn't so bad to get him there.
Yeah. Stafford was pretty darn good. I know you're not a huge Stafford guy.
But I recognize that he's a great quarterback. I just don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
But then again, you got Jimmy G's of the world getting to the Super Bowl. So I think Cousins can be that good. Here was my trade, of course, that I put out earlier this year. How about Trey Lance, Minnesota native, back to the Vikings, and finally Kyle Shanahan gets his guy in Kirk Cousins. Seems to be like
he's wanted him forever.
Wait, it seems like at a certain point of his career, Kyle Shanahan is going to have Kirk Cousins at his quarterback. So maybe you're right.
Well, the time to have done that trade would have been right now because I would hope for Trey Lance that the only place his stock can go is up. I don't know if it can get much lower because he was a super high pick that the 49ers traded a boatload for to get, and he hasn't been able to stay on the field. So at this point, you should have been able to get him trade for him for almost nothing.
But the Niners are not going to let him go for a 6th-round pick because
not a 6th-round pick, but what about a 3rd-round pick? If you feel like you're getting your future quarterback,
well, that's the thing. He's a flyer, so you're not going to give up a 3rd-round pick for a flyer. Here's the problem with Kirk Cousins. You're just too good to get a high draft pick.
Right.
You're in limbo. It's like the NBA limbo, but the football limbo. That is a celebrity who I recently talked to, by the way, was Kirk Cousins.
You did have the...
I had a 25-minute conversation with Kirk Cousins at the Super Bowl at some photo shoot that he was standing at. And guess what we talked about the entire time?
Vans?
Close. Rides at Disney Worlds that its kids like.
I mean, you can kill 20 minutes that way.
Yeah. You haven't been on the Disney World yet.
No, my kid's too young.
Parents of a certain age know all about that. And Kirk Cousins, he is as close to a suburban dad as a quarterback can be. He doesn't even need this money. That's a great irony of this thing.
I mean, he'll find a way to spend it.
No,
maybe not all of it, but
he absolutely will not.
So have you seen the new ads for the Netflix documentary? Quarterback. So it's going to be Cousins, Marcus Mariota, and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it should be good.
For Mahomes to give that kind of access, I'm fascinated by that. They've got the #1 quarterback in the league. They might have the most dominant athlete in their sport. No disrespect, Jokic, Shohei Ohtani, Connor McDavid, but they have the #1 guy in American sports right now.
Yeah, well, it's smart on Patrick. Does he want Jackson, his brother, and his wife making the Instagram narrative? Yeah, I think.
Actually, it's about time you got a hold of the.
The pros at Netflix might be a better solution here. I'm not worried about Mahomes. Mahomes is really charismatic. He's photogenic. What the heck is a Kirk Cousins portion of this going to be?
I'm curious how he made the cut.
Well, it's interesting. I think it's
he's
smart.
interesting. He's been around for a long time, I guess.
Well, you don't want to do all great quarterbacks. I think like Hard Knocks, you want a different level.
Well,
so
they have Mariota for the guy who's sort of hanging on.
Journeyman, mid-level, mid to upper level,
High draft
and then
pick.
superstar. That's a kind of interesting way. I used to love the show QB1 on Netflix.
Yeah.
I don't think they're doing it anymore, but they'd always do the top quarterback.
The high school.
Yeah, the high school quarterbacks. Right. The top quarterback, mid-level, and then the third level. And one year, their third level guy was Sam Hartman, who turned out to be a superstar.
Wow.
They got lucky, and they had Justin Fields and Spencer Rattler. The lesser guys were always more interesting, just like Hard Knocks, right? You want to see the stories. Being a great player does not make you a great, entertaining Netflix doc.
Yes, but I think the reason why I want to see Mahomes the most is just because it's like we're watching the greatness in real time and we get maybe behind the scenes. You know, a lot of guys, we've been talking about the word legendary a lot, but a lot of guys are willing to open up, but only after the fact, you know?
What do you expect to see?
I don't know.
I don't think there's much.
I feel like I'm doing a commercial for Netflix right now.
Patrick Mahomes,
they don't need me.
Pretty boring dude, too.
Yeah, who do you think's the most interesting of those three boring guys? Like, Mahomes is interesting, but more because of, like, his just winning. But, like,
I mean,
Mariota?
He's obsessed with golf. Mahomes. Obsessed.
I mean,
Mariota's got to be the most, like, uninteresting person in all the NFL.
Remember he left the team because his kid was being born last year? Maybe there's something interesting there.
Could be interesting, but he is the most boring interview I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
So I think Mike has a good point. That is three boring people on their face. Maybe Cousins is secretly the most interesting here.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227.
He's super interesting on airplanes.
Well, that's the team.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the team with him, with the chain and all that.
I know, that's the team doing that with him looking wildly uncomfortable. I mean, listen, if you put me on a plane and took my shirt off, I don't think I would probably feel great either, professional athlete or no. But he did not look like he was enjoying that at all.
Will the show, go back to last year?
I think it's from last year.
Oh, great. So we'll get to see that. That'll be fun.
It's in the teaser. It's like in the trailer.
Oh, it is? Oh, great. I haven't seen the trailer. And it's Mariota's daughter thing. So we got some good stuff.
He's like holding a baby.
This show's going to be great. I'm excited.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, if you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, you'll notice in my hands I am holding a Louisville Slugger bat that was given to me by the good folks at Louisville Slugger. It's got my name on it, which is cool. I've kept it all these years, and I've wondered, what am I ever going to use this bat for? It's really heavy, so I'm not using it in a game. My kid's 4 years old. He can't use it. So what would I ever use this bat for? And last night, as I was in my basement looking around for weapons of destruction, I happened upon it. Thought, old friend, where have you been?
What did you not bring in?
There were a couple things. So, as I mentioned, management did have to get involved on this one. They let us go with the jelly. They were very cool about that. They came back with a vengeance on this one. So all of my husband's power tools I was told to leave them at home. So at my house, we have a weed whacker. We've got a saw, an electric saw at our house. We've got, what else we have?
Wait, you have to leave the weed whacker at home? That's like the least dangerous thing.
Yeah, that was on the no list from HR. My husband also was like, the saw, you've never used it before. So that was a combo.
Saw, I would leave home. Weed whacker, ow, but that's about it.
HR and the husband both were like, might want to leave the electric saw at home. I left the tennis rackets at home, and I also left the golf clubs at home.
Tennis rackets?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I also left any kind of cutlery. Like, I thought that was sending the wrong message. For some reason, hitting it with a baseball bat is very different than stabbing it with a knife. I didn't want it to get personal on Carson Wentz.
What about, I was thinking this morning about the LeBron jersey burning. Like, burning, it's always fun.
Oh, yes. HR was very clear that nothing can be lit on fire in the
Can
studio.
we go out on the street afterwards and light the remains?
I mean, we already had all this bad air from the Canadian brush fires.
Couldn't you have just gone Mr. Haggerty style and just gotten some flammable stuff and just, lit a bunch of cigarettes and threw it right into the shop corner?
Mr. Haggerty, Maggie's shop teacher.
My shop teacher from middle school who used to smoke in the flammable room in the wood shop. May he rest in peace and God rest his soul.
I feel like from now on, we all know that Perloff has his Bruce, and Bruce is everything. I feel like Mr. Haggerty is going to be like everything for you moving forward.
Yeah. Real guy. I was told not to light anything on fire. And I was told not to even pretend to light anything on fire. So those were the parameters and the stipulations.
All
so
right.
we've got a bat. We've got our fists.
So you couldn't light the bat on fire and then hit it with
Now, this isn't the Savannah Bananas. Yeah. So there you go. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. And that's what we got. So much more to do, including, well, really, it's just all about the poster today. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Largen Park says, roll it up and smoke it. That was also explicitly frowned upon by management. Again, anything with lighter fluid, a light, no firecrackers. There was a lot of no's on this one, but the yes was this here bat. We get to it next. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff on Destruction Day on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. The time has arrived, Maggie.
Here we are. It took weeks, months, quite frankly. We hit 1,000 new YouTube subscribers, and that was the deal. Once it got done, we were going to destroy the Carson Wentz poster, and we far exceeded what we ever could have hoped for. And that's because of you out there who got behind this, who understood the mission in front of us, and today's the day, and this is for you.
Yeah, so I was defending the poster and Carson Wentz, but I have to be honest, this is awesome.
I brought my Louisville Slugger
I can't wait.
And,
the relish that you have to do this, I don't think I've seen you this excited in a long time.
I just want to, for the record, if this does get back to Carson Wentz, he's got to know it was never personal. It was never personal.
Right, which is what people say when it's 100% personal.
Not. I've never met Carson Wentz. He never played for any of my teams. This is not personal. This is about a mission. A mission for a radio show, and for the listeners, the Weedos, the Purple Drinkers, the honorary Weedos, and everyone came through. So
I owe Carson Wentz a debt of gratitude. He helped my Philadelphia Eagles get to the Super Bowl. He led them to the playoffs, beat the Giants in some key spots. I have no hard feelings towards Carson Wentz.
And hopefully he has no hard feelings towards us after this, but I'm going to doubt it.
Actually, did you see what I did there? I tried to get all the blame onto you. Maggie Gray, sure. Carson. Yeah. It's Maggie Gray who wants to destroy this.
Yep. And I'm confident someday we will meet and we will be able to talk this out. All right.
We'll all laugh.
We'll laugh. We'll laugh about this one day. Okay, so here we go. We got to go sort of off the mics here a little bit. So I've got my Louisville Slugger bat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio if you want to watch what's about to go down.
We had this all measured out about an hour ago, and now it's something changed.
Okay, put the clamp on the side of the poster.
Okay.
To give a little more buffer.
Okay.
And then the other clamp at the bottom. How about that?
Why is that clamp at the bottom? What is that going to do?
Because you can really hold it.
Okay.
Move the chair out of the way.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay. I do not really
Perloff.
want to get injured here.
Okay, you're not going to get injured.
I'm totally going to get hurt.
We're going to tip this up so you can see it on the live stream. All right, Weedos, Purple Drinkers, this is for you.
Yes.
You did.
Yes.
All right, now Perloff, here you go. Here's the Louisville Slugger. Give me the clamps. Hold on 1 second while we reload.
That was a serious hit. But Carson is not crumbled.
Not going down.
Yeah, he took a hit. He scrambled out of the pocket. He's still in sort of one piece, kind of half of one piece. Okay, ready?
Okay, now Perloff has the Louisville Slugger.
I'm going to go like Office Space and do it sort of with the other end of the bat.
Whoa, yeah. All right, here we go.
Your turn.
Now, wait. I think we got do we just give it the rip?
Yeah, rip it.
Do we do the rip? I rip it.
Maggie can't rip it.
I can't rip it.
All right, let's both of us try.
Okay, here, wait, you try.
This thing is tougher than the actual Carson Wentz. Right. There's no way it's going to rip.
Oh, I got it.
You got it? All right. Okay, I got an idea.
Here, you hold that side.
I got an idea. I'm going to hold it. You stomp on it.
Okay.
Get up on here.
All right, let me get up on the table.
We're going to take this thing down
All right, now I'm up on the table. All right.
All right, give it a good kick here.
Okay.
All right, let me take your kick.
Now you get up there.
All right.
Okay. Oh, boy. All right. Now Perloff's up on the table. Hold on. All right. How about like that? Careful. Yes, yes. Destruction.
Yeah,
Still
that's okay. I'm going to need a few stitches for just hitting my head on a sharp light up there. Honestly, I'm in worse shape than the actual poster. What is this thing made of?
I don't know. All right. There we go. All right. Now we can rip. Sort of. What is this stuff? There we go.
Turns out we needed that power saw.
Yeah, I know.
This was a good workout.
I can't get the leverage.
We've been talking about destroying this thing for a month, and we can barely get it done.
I didn't realize this posters. Gosh, Sports Illustrated made these posters really well.
Oh, boy. Ah!
All right. Whew. Do we think it's properly destroyed?
It's seen better days, that's for sure. It's in 3 large chunks right now, and there's white foam all over the studio.
Yeah, we didn't realize that.
Which people will not be happy about.
No, they're not. Okay.
Yeah.
What do we think? Is this good?
I think we did a great job.
All right.
Did it feel good?
You know, it did. Whew. I think it did feel pretty good.
My favorite moment was you're like, all right, let's just rip it. And you're pulling as hard as you can, and the darn thing is not budging at all for about 10 seconds. That was great.
All right. Well, the poster has been destroyed.
We got to take out some rage.
Yep.
But, again, nothing personal.
No, this was not personal at all. And then now the remains will have to go in the trash.
I mean, you don't want to take them down on the street and light them on fire, LeBron James style? LeBron James jersey style.
Yeah. I mean, we can. I think that these are toxins that are going to go into the air.
In New York
probably
City.
in not cool way. But yes, New York City is.
I'm not sure that we'll even notice them.
Yeah.
So, wow. You know who's going to be upset that they miss this? Zach Gelb, of course, who's
I know
on after us.
Oh, and Ryan Hickey. We said Ryan could come in and
why
rip
don't we
the poster
save
a
little piece for Zach to rip up as well? There's a little bit. I have sort of a right elbow of Carson that survived. So, let other people get their shots in.
Oh, man. All right.
That was great.
Well, we did it. It's destroyed. And now the Carson's Corner is no more.
Oh God, I couldn't pull him. I couldn't hit send on this. But what if I'd ordered a Washington Commanders Carson Wentz poster? Pull it out of my bag right now and put it there.
I would have never forgiven you, ever.
Poor Carson.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that in the chat. Stu, were you monitoring?
Oh, sure was.
All the Weedos okay?
Everyone seems pretty happy with what went down.
Everyone's satisfied.
The thing that's most satisfying for me is just how much
were you scared when I swung the bat? Because I was scared when you swung the bat.
I was not. I never thought you were going to hit me. Did you think I was going to hit you?
Oh, yeah. I thought I was going to bounce off the poster and come up and break my glasses again.
No. There's no way that could happen twice.
Pretty sure. So I'm dressed wearing a short sleeve button down with a tie because I wanted to look like Michael Bolton in Office Space. And he wears glasses, so I had to wear my glasses. I was 80% certain they were going to get broken.
No, I would never do that to you.
Not on purpose, no. No one breaks out others' glasses on purpose. But
I can see Michael Bolton, but I'm seeing more Dilbert.
Oh, man. This made me want to go to a batting cage, which I haven't been to in a really long time. Haven't swung a bat in a while. Maybe we'll do that after the show.
Maybe we can take the Wentz poster and just put it in front of the pitching machine and just let the balls do their work.
Yeah. Daniel Harris in the chat says, removing Carson really opens up the room. Strong agree.
Get out of here.
Feng shui.
It's the opposite
better.
of the Big Lebowski's and his rug. It really ties the room together.
Yeah.
There's a plastic plant that we haven't seen in months that is back there.
It's like a dust all over it.
Yeah.
There's a plant back there?
Who's using this studio in 2017? Because that's where this plant is from.
Thank God it wasn't a real plant. That thing would have been dead.
That plant did not last nearly as long as Carson Wentz did with a baseball bat.
Yeah, there's even the styrofoam inside this plant. No.
Oh, boy.
I don't know why you guys...
It's not real soil?
You're going to miss the Carson Wentz poster.
I already missed it. It feels empty.
It does feel empty.
Man, I got to tell you, there are some people in the chat. I'm telling you, you would not have been able to rip this thing either. It was extremely difficult to rip. Obviously, if I could have ripped it, I would have ripped it. What am I to hold back now? I brought a Louisville Slugger in to take care of this thing. There's no way. I'm not faking it. I'm trying. Perloff couldn't rip it either.
I couldn't either. Now, Maggie almost got a hernia trying to rip it. That would have been a headline. Radio host gets hernia trying to rip poster on air. Yeah, just a setup. You go, okay, now, all right, that's it. I'm just going to rip it. And then you're pulling so hard.
It was hard. This was not easy to rip.
My favorite line was, Sports Illustrated makes some really good posters. This is a Sports Illustrated poster.
I didn't know.
Oh, good job.
All right, well, we did it, and that's it. And the Carson's corner is done. The jelly has been eaten. So the only thing that's left to do now is the spicy hot nuggets.
We still have to do that?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, there's so much going on, I figured that might have fallen out.
No, if we're going to get an EMT to come in here to make sure you don't get sauce in your eyes, we're definitely doing it.
Oh, boy.
That EMT's probably got an hourly rate. It's already probably booked. I don't know. We got to talk to Spike about it.
I still have not gotten a definitive answer from anyone, and I don't believe you. The EMT is only here for if I get sauce in my eyes. It's not because my whole body's going to explode or anything.
Well, no, but if that happens, then they're also there. It's like an umbrella insurance policy. You know, if anything happens, the EMT will be right there to help out.
Oh, boy. Can we just have like a normal week where we just talk sports and don't break anything, eat anything?
No, impossible.
Okay.
Not in the middle of June, that's for sure.
Definitely not.
Hey, don't give away the secrets.
Don't tell them too much. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227.
What the heck, Stu? Where are you coming out of left field with the haymaker?
All right, we got a lot to do. I hope everybody enjoyed it. If you missed it at all, you tuned in late, we will be putting this on our social channels. Of course, you got youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, Maggie and Pearl on Twitter, Maggie and Perloff on Instagram and TikTok. All right, I feel better.
Yeah.
The studio
Got
seems
some demons
better,
out of the way.
You know?
Well, I did put a little bit of Carson.
No, take that down. Take that down.
That's the start of Carson's corner.
I want to leave that
for Zach.
So Zach can take a shot or two.
All right. Well, Zach's not going to be back till Monday in the studio.
Yeah, just to be clear, if you're listening, it's just Carson's right elbow survived somehow, and it is up on the wall.
All right. Coming up next, we've got one former coach getting very candid about his former star player. We got all that for you. We're going to do it next. So we're going to regroup here. We're going to get some of these Carson bits out of the studio. We'll be back with you in just moments after this CBS Sports Update with Chris Lopresti.
Sports Flash.
Shake up dinner time with HelloFresh with 40 weekly recipe options. There's always something new to try. Get 16 free meals plus free shipping with code SKATE16 at HelloFresh.com/SKATE16. A dream start to the U.S. Open for Ricky Fowler. He fired an 8-under 62 today at Los Angeles Country Club. It's the first 62 in U.S. Open history. That spans more than 47,000 rounds played all time. He's also the first player to make 10 birdies in a U.S. Open round. Here's the problem, though. Xander Schauffele is 8 under through 17, also with a par on the final hole of the day for Schauffele. He would match Fowler with a 62 as well. How about the next two names on the leaderboard? Scotty Scheffler and Bryson DeChambeau, both at 3 under par, 5 shots off the pace. Meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal reports the U.S. Department of Justice has opened a review of the planned alliance between the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. Baseball, Rays and A's underway with their series finale in Oakland. A lot of talk about the possible move of the A's to Las Vegas, but this series wrapping up right now, bottom half of the third. Tampa Bay with a 2-0 lead over Oakland. Bottom 3 in Arizona. The Phillies have a 3-1 advantage over the Diamondbacks, and earlier today at Camden Yards, it was the Orioles defeating the Blue Jays 4-2. I'm Chris Lopresti.
Hey, it's Amy Lawrence. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Just ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. catching our breath here after the destruction of the Carson Wentz poster that was a long time coming.
Oh, well, it was like a month and a half we did this bit.
Yeah, something like that. But it feels like a long time coming because we thought about it, we talked about it, and the Louisville Slugger was taken to the bad. If you are in the chat, if you're watching the show for the first time, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. If you could hit subscribe, we would be so appreciative. Let's go to Anthony. He's in Myrtle Beach, wants to talk about the Wentz poster that just went night-night. What's up, Anthony?
Hey, congratulations on finally seeing your goals through.
Thank you. You know, we're a goal-oriented show.
It might take a while to get there.
Yeah.
Real quick, Perloff, if I might suggest maybe doing a little training and build that palate up. Wendy's got a spicy nugget. It's not going to hurt you, but it might help you a little bit. You know what I mean?
No, you serious? Because I'm looking for any kind of advice. Do you think you can build up tolerance to spices? Because I'm down to try that.
Absolutely. I mean, they're cheap. And by the way, you just broke a $500 poster. That thing is a Sports Illustrated misprint. If you notice, the SI was upside down on that poster. So it's nice to see that Carson Wentz put up a bigger fight than the Miami Heat did.
Oh, wait a minute. The Sports Illustrated wasn't upside down.
It's a misprint. Look at it.
We're looking at it right now.
That's worth $500. It was worth $500, girl. Look on eBay. You'll see it.
So this 2016 Carson Wentz poster is a famous misprint. By the way,
wait a minute. If we just destroyed a $500 poster, I don't know if I'm going to be able to look at myself in the mirror. Wait, Anthony, there's nothing. But it's not misspelled though. It's not upside down.
Listen, I'm only playing with you. Don't worry about it.
Oh, Anthony.
I was dying for a second. Anthony, thank you for the call. And actually, $500 was just enough for it to be believable.
Yeah.
He wasn't like, oh, it was a $10,000 poster. We would have never believed
We were taking out super glue, ready to put this thing back together.
I was frantically just searching on Google to make sure.
I was too. I just Googled Carson Wentz misprint Sports Illustrated.
We are so gullible. Oh, my gosh. But that was a lot of fun. Hope you guys had as much fun watching as we did destroying it, even though the poster was very hard to rip. Okay, so all we have left on the table now is the hot nuggets as far as outstanding challenges / bets that need to be paid off. So we will keep you updated on when that's going to happen next week.
Yeah, I think we're going to incorporate Buffalo Wild Wings. I like this idea. Wendy's has a spicy nugget. I want to build up some tolerance. I don't think it works like that, but you guys seem confident that it does.
I definitely think it does. Because, I think that's how people who live in places where spicy food is the norm, I think. You know, you clearly have a tolerance to it. And I'm just thinking about this, I once was lucky enough to go visit Thailand. In Thailand, the food there is generally really spicy.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm sure not to people who are native from Thailand. It probably just tastes regular.
So I go to a Thai restaurant, and they ask me, they're like, do you want spicy? And they say, this is what they say. They say, it's not spicy like American spicy. It's a different kind of spicy. And I'm like, whatever that is, I want it mild. So
they love when you come.
Basically, they're saying, you couldn't handle this.
Yeah.
Which is, again, bad. This is all bad. This is very bad.
Oh, it's going to be fine. Okay, people are wondering, why is there a little bit of Wentz, the little bit of poster behind you? You're leaving that for Zach Gelb and Ryan Hickey?
Yeah, I thought as a gift to the show after us on CBS Sports Radio, it would be nice to let them ruin a little of the Carson Wentz poster because they were real advocates of killing this thing.
Yeah, no, they were really behind it. Everyone who got behind it, thank you so much. Okay, so let's get to a little bit of Doc Rivers. Now, Doc Rivers on the Bill Simmons podcast getting very, very candid about the challenges of coaching James Harden.
It was challenging, more because we were fighting two things, and not visually fighting, is that James is so good at playing one way, and the way that I believe you have to play to win in some ways is different because it's a lot of giving up the ball, moving the ball, coming back to the ball. I would have loved to have him younger when that was easier for him, where he could have done that more.
I mean, pow. And we know that James Harden did not want to play for Doc Rivers, so in essence kind of got him fired, or at least that's some of the dribs and drabs that was coming out of Philadelphia. But, I mean, that was taken to the woodshed there with Harden. Basically said he's not a winning player. You can't win with him.
Is there anybody over the age of 3 who's ever watched James Harden who did not know that coming in? That's a surprise to Doc Rivers. That's the rap on James Harden forever. Of course, he holds on to the ball. As Doc said in another quote, you know where the ball is because James hogs the ball.
Right.
Yeah, and here's what bothers me. Like, what did you expect to happen with James Harden? You've seen him do this for 12 years in the NBA. There's no way he can change, so... Well, I'm not sure. So if Doc knew that and management knew that and James Harden knew that, then what did they expect to happen other than a second-round playoff exit?
Well, in some ways, though, isn't it? I mean, does the coach have to take any responsibility here? Why couldn't you get this guy to buy in a way that he was not willing to try to play, in your mind, winning basketball?
James Harden cannot. There's just too much evidence. You cannot teach an older player new tricks. There's no way. Do you think James Harden could be coached into doing this? I think it will never happen.
I saw it for a brief glimpse right after he was traded from Houston to Brooklyn. He was incredible in terms of giving up the ball. Yes, he was. I was watching every single game.
Yeah, he was playing pure point guard. I understand, but he wasn't as effective as I think you're painting him out to be. Like that, he wasn't going to win a title that way because
that looked as good as it could possibly look, and it lasted for about 25 games, maybe 30. Yeah. And it did look different. I mean. Here's the thing. Yes, Doc is saying what everyone might know, but it's rare when you get someone to say this superstar, someone who was on the 75 greatest players of all time, a former MVP, is not a winning player. Maybe I'm just a little surprised by the candor.
I'm not.
Who else? What other coach is saying that?
I think I've never
on the
heard,
record.
Okay, maybe Coach are saying, but I don't know a single person who watches basketball who doesn't feel that way about James Harden. Not a single person. One.
Okay, but how many people in the NBA say it?
I don't think.
Like, are you giving Doc bonus points for this?
I'm not at all because everybody knows this. I don't think anyone in the NBA praises James Harden anymore.
Then how does he keep getting all these big contracts?
There's one person, Daryl Morey, seems to be the exception. There's a report that the Sixers. Here's. Real quick, a little backstory. I think the Sixers have a great opportunity next year. The East is as empty as it's ever been. It's the weakest I think it's been in years. The Heat were the worst finals team I've seen come out of the East, and the East has been bad. Sixers has every opportunity. Now there's a report today that they want to bring back Harden, which means they will never come out of the East. He will never get to the finals. He's just not that kind of player. Because he can never put his ego to the side and play that team game. Maybe he did it for 25 games, but he can't do it for a sustained period of time. So I'm not giving Doc Rivers any extra points. Like, yeah, no duh, James Harden is. And also the other thing too is like Doc was talking so dispassionately in that clip and other clips. Like, it's your fault, dude. As you said, like, why didn't you do anything about it?
Well, but as you said, there's no coach that could get through to him. But that's the reason why when you hire Doc Rivers, though, part of it is because he's somebody who you think can manage egos. He's somebody who has the gravitas that he did playing in the league and has coached superstars. I mean, Doc's, trips and stints in the LA Clippers. Doc has never done that real up-and-coming team. He did with Boston for a little bit, but Paul Pierce was still on that team. And then obviously when they got KG and they got Ray Allen, that's when they won.
But those are all championship-style players. Every single one of them you just named. So I think that's the distinction. Harden is not. Let me ask you, moving forward, would you think Nick Nurse, who's I think probably was the best coach, best hire this offseason, ever see a Raptors team that played anything but 100% hard? No, they were always playing hard. What's he going to do? If you saddle him with James Harden, you might as well not hire Nick Nurse.
Well, I would say this. If you give James Harden like a 3-year deal for $100 million, there's nothing that Nick Nurse is going to be able to do.
Great point.
I mean, I'm not saying like that he's worth nothing, but I'm also saying if you give him that kind of, certainty, or you give him that kind of, contract that's basically going to probably be the last one of his career, you're getting whatever you get.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't know who's going to win the next title, but I'll tell you right now, whoever has Kyrie and whoever has James Harden will not win an NBA title. I feel so confident about that. And I think Doc, I guess, you give him credit. He's an active coach who said that. But it's just so obvious. It hits you in the head. That's a wrap. James Harden, I'm sorry, I think he's a bit of a joke.
Well, but let's not forget, Game 1, Eastern Conference Finals.
I know.
Won that game single-handedly in Boston. Also had a very good Game 4.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like most NBA fans are very skeptical about him. I'm not saying that anyone doesn't think he's talented. I just think that people think that he's got the wrong attitude for a winning team. The other thing, too, Doc pointed out, he's not young anymore. He can't. He said, I wish I could have coached him younger. So he could give the ball up and come back. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, James Harden only has room for 2 cuts in an offensive set? What did you think about what Doc said about Joel?
So what he said about Joel Embiid was that Joel really needs to start being more of a, show his team more love, not just on the court, but off the court as well. Kind of has to be more of a leader. He said all the rest of the guys are looking at Joel. They love him. They're looking to him to sort of lead them, and he's maybe not giving it back to them. To me, if that's true and that's real, first of all, why couldn't Doc get that across to Joel in a way that could get him to buy in? But again, maybe you can't. That's correctable. That's something you can change. I do believe that. I know certain guys, maybe you're introverted, whatever, but I mean, if you need to make that attention to detail, that's a change I think that can be made. It's not like you're saying, oh, I have to, recover from double knee surgery.
Yeah, it sounds, I don't buy it. It sounds wishy-washy to me. You're telling me Joel Embiid hanging out at night on Wednesday night and going dinner with the team. Nick Nurse is going to get in there and he's going to say, you better run an offense and you better try hard on defense. Everyone on the team, and if you don't, you're gone. That's how it works. It's not, this seems like way too a soft a way. Hey, let's all go to dinner together and then we'll play as a team. I reject that principle. I think these are pros. And Nick Nurse gets it. Doc Rivers did not have a real system there. I think that you watch the Sixers play on offense, and it was a bit of a mess. I think Nurse is going to come in and clean that up, and you're going to not care if Joel goes to dinner. I don't know. Am I being too X's and O's here to think that a coach could do that? Do you think that what happens off the court and in a locker room really can impact the on-the-court thing?
I do. I think for as much as people say, oh, this is a team that they hate each other, but they were able to put it all aside and win a title. You got to be 86 Mets good, like that level, because I think for the most part, guys, what they want to play for each other. We were talking about this with Jokic and about how Jokic, what's the motivation? If it doesn't appear that winning titles matters all that much to him, at least on the outside. If it doesn't appear that winning finals MVP really means a lot, he's not really getting the gravity of these legacy shaping moments, right? He just doesn't care. So what makes you get out of bed at 5 a.m. and train? What makes you keep coming to practice? He's got enough money for the rest of his life. And maybe the answer is for your teammates. Maybe that's the answer. It's the bond. It's the, making sure you are accountable. Don't want to let people down. I think it matters.
Okay, I think what makes it easy to play with Jokic is he draws double teams and is the best passing big man in the league, and it gets you open shots.
But what makes Jokic want to play with the rest of these guys? I think he has to have a camaraderie, a love of team.
Maybe he just wants to play basketball, and this is how he plays basketball. And I still don't think that he's waking up at 4 a.m. and working out in the offseason.
Well, I don't know.
I think...
I fudge the time a little.
I think you've watched...
In my mind, it's 4 a.m.
You watch Rocky too many times in your life, and you think that he has to drink a cup of raw eggs. Yeah. No, I think... Maybe I'm being much more literal and on the court. I just think it's easy to play with Jokic. People like playing with Jokic because he's an amazing passer and he draws so much attention. I think people would like playing with Joel if he was in great shape and stayed healthy throughout the year and got everyone a bunch of easy shots, not because he's taking them out to dinner on Thursday night. I mean, listen, Doc knows a lot more about players than I do, but I feel like if a coach can fix it on the court, the other stuff won't be important.
Maybe. It's a long season, though. It's a grind. You want to have a little bit of fun. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, want to bring your attention to something else that we're starting next week. So the hot nuggets, yes, we'll get to that. The challenge, there's going to be steam coming out of Perloff's ears. It's going to be great. We're all going to laugh, and it'll be fun. Yeah.
Okay.
What we're also starting next week is something that we're calling this summer the Great Debate Series. And so there's going to be a few weeks out of the year. It's not going to take over the show. It's not going to be everything we talk about, but it's going to be at least one segment of the show per day dedicated to what we're calling the Great Debate Series. So it's going to be a slew of different topics. And just to give a little heads up on what we're starting with, next week we're starting with the 25 greatest athletes since 2000.
Ooh.
And we have guests booked for it who you're going to want to hear from. We've got lots of ideas about how we're going to roll this out. So next week starts our great debate series, and the first one is top 25 athletes since 2000.
No, we're starting with a bang. When you actually start putting pen to paper, it's an incredible list, and I think there's a lot of points of debate. I mean, Stu, you're going to call us out for June content? Where are you going to chime in with your snarky comment? But I love the way we're starting, because once you actually see the list, I think you're going to be very interested in this.
I got to 50 people before I took a breath.
Did you have James Harden on there?
Actually, I did. 855-212-4CBS. When I got to 50.
Carson Wentz was not on there.
Coming up, one Pro Bowler on the verge of a new deal. Who is it? Where could they be headed? We'll do that next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Anybody have the financial security that they can do the right thing in that case? Because it's not the wrong thing to keep the ball. That's what most of us would do. Am I being totally
doing the
weak
right
here?
thing is like, going to a soup kitchen or donating to charity. Giving a souvenir to a soon-to-be multimillionaire is not the right thing.
I don't know if it's necessarily the right thing to do to give it back, because if I'm in your shoes, I might keep it. I wouldn't feel good about it. I don't know.
13-year-old Mike Samter is absolutely giving that ball to Derek Jeter or whoever. 40-whatever-year-old Samter. There's bills to pay, you have responsibilities, you've got kids.
Then what are you doing at a Reds game on a Wednesday night? You got all these responsibilities and all these bills to pay.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Making history today at the U.S. Open, first round. Pair of golfers posting scores of 62, lowest ever first round or single round in a U.S. Open. So that's Ricky Fowler, and that was also Xander Schauffele, a 62. Ricky Fowler's is 10 birdies and 2 bogeys.
Oof.
That is a smoking around.
But we know Ricky Fowler is had trouble holding on to leads. I was just looking at his highest finishes in majors. Second in the 2018 Masters, tied for third in the PGA in 2014, and 2 tied for seconds U.S. Open and the British Open. I mean, this is a guy who hasn't won a major yet. I'm already thinking to myself, oh, man, I just hope he doesn't blow this, because he's a very likable golfer, has great commercials. But this hot start, for some reason, it makes me nervous. What does that say?
Well, I think the big thing about the U.S. Open is this year's course at the LA Country Club is a little different and set up differently than U.S. Opens of the past. Usually U.S. Opens, super narrow fairways, right? They have no graded rough. It's just like goes from the fairway to like thicker grass. So you get so penalized if you don't, hit it in these very narrow fairways. From what I can understand from the LA Country Club, fairways are a lot bigger, almost double the size that they normally are, the width, I guess, that they are in a normal U.S. Open, quote unquote. But the greens are really small, and depending on where the pin placement is on the greens, it can be really treacherous. So no one was sure what the scores were going to be, but obviously they're coming in pretty low here with Fowler and Schauffele both netting a 62, karting a 62.
Andrew Perloff, 2023 U.S. Open pick. Victor Hovland is at -1. Although
Hang it on.
I tweeted that. Yeah, it's one day in. Yeah. I tweeted that. It was like, this course is specifically not designed for Victor Hovland. And I tweeted everyone back. I'm like, now you tell me. Thanks, guys.
That's information I could have used yesterday.
Yeah, let me tell you one thing. I've followed golf predictions before. It is a very, very hard sport to predict the actual winner in. Needless to say.
Yeah, we're picking up what you're putting down there. Yeah. I thought what was interesting about the LA Country Club, a couple of different things. The history of it, not so great, but that happens with a lot of country clubs. The exclusivity of it, can get pretty gross. But I didn't realize the Playboy Mansion is off of 14. Now, Hugh Hefner passed away in 2017. Double check me on that. 2017. But at the Playboy Mansion, he had like a small zoo, I think, like exotic animals that were there, including like many exotic birds. So people who play the course a lot, when you get around hole 14 or 15, start hearing these exotic birds. And there's monkeys there too. Imagine a monkey gets loose and is going across the golf course.
That'd be awkward. I've been to the Playboy Mansion.
You have?
Yes, I have.
How have we gotten this late into? We're a year and a half into the show, and this is the first we're getting Playboy Mansion?
Because it was nothing like I expected.
It was like the Hyatt? Like, well, what do you
It was sanitized, yes. It was.
When did you go? Set up the story.
Okay, whatever the glory days were for the Playboy Mansion, 5 years after that.
That's
5 years after that,
party
5
just
years.
ended when you get there and there's nothing left.
It was for a movie premiere of some R-rated movie, and
Were you in the movie?
I don't even know if I was in. No, I don't. It might have been a Sandler movie, but I don't think so.
Oh, so this was a Dan Patrick thing.
No, somehow my coworker Paul Paps secured a invitation randomly. We were in L.A. We used to do a lot of shows in L.A. He's like, hey, someone just got us invites to the Playboy Mansion. We're like, yes, let's go. We get there.
Male fantasy coming true.
Yeah, we're like, oh my gosh, we're finally going to. We get there. It might as well have been a Residence Inn. It was.
Wait, what? No.
It was just a normal movie premiere. They shuffled you into this room. Hef was not there. Everything was, the entire mansion was sort of cordoned off, so you couldn't go to any of the personal living spaces.
Were the bunnies there?
There might have been bunnies there, but no, there weren't really bunnies there.
Would you remember if there were bunnies?
Not. It was so lame.
Do you see that many beautiful women that you just like, she might be a bunny. She might not.
I think there were people serving drinks who were wearing bunny costumes, but I don't think they were official. They weren't in the magazine.
Right. They were just wearing the costume.
It seemed like a catering company. It was so lame.
So lame.
It was so lame.
Boy.
It was toward the end. I don't know. They don't do anything there anymore now, do they?
I don't even think he owns it anymore.
I went to the grotto.
Yeah.
And
the famous grotto.
Where there are all these stories that you hear on the Howard Stern show of all these adult activities taking place.
Yeah, lots of VD in the grotto.
Yeah, it wasn't like that at all. There were all these neatly folded towels, like at a hotel pool, and there was nobody in the pool. Nobody jumped in. It was nothing like I expected.
It's like one of those things where it's like automated, a seat that lowers you into the pool very gently when you're in the nursing home.
I can't tell you how lame it was.
Wow, that's so
But the
disappointing.
other thing is, and I was a bit relieved, because I don't think I could handle 70s, 80s Playboy Mansion. I've seen videos.
You wouldn't have been able to hang?
No. I'm not.
You would have fit right in. Sure.
I'm not much for group sex in a pool. That's not my thing.
It's not? That's
seems
wild.
kind of completely unsanitary.
I would have taken you for a group sex in the pool guy. I'm shocked by your answer.
Yeah, I don't show
sarcasm coming through.
I don't show up to a party in a Speedo. It's not my thing. Would you go if you got the invite back in the day? Would you have gone?
Definitely. I mean, it's like a cultural thing. You just got to do it to say you went there, right?
It was so bad. Let me see if I can find some pictures online. It's the most disappointing thing. About an hour in, we're all like, I mean, can we get an Uber to get the heck out of here?
Wow.
This is terrible.
Oh, man. I'm trying to think of a time when I thought something was going to be awesome and got totally disappointed by it. I got to think. I don't have anything like that.
And the other thing, too, is I thought there'd be celebrities. There were certainly no celebrities.
Well, you guys were there? Yeah.
Well, it was like us. I mean, you should have seen this list of B-list celebrities. It was incredible.
Well, B-list isn't bad.
I mean, no, okay.
D-list.
Cato Kalin probably was there.
Oh, no. That's
Cato's a great
all
guy,
the Jim
by the way.
Rome fans.
Yeah. But I don't think he was there for the event. I think he was just there.
Yeah, he lives there. He must.
He used to, yeah. Anyway, it was not great. I'm sorry to disappoint anybody, but I don't think people are looking to Andrew Perloff for great Playboy Mansion stories.
It would have been funny if you had one. That would have been quite a shock. But going back to the LA Country Club, which is where the U.S. Open is being held this year, where the Playboy Mansion is on the 14th, right off the 14th hole. By the way, Hugh Hefner buying a mansion that was on the golf course was not enough to permit him entrance into the golf course. That's how exclusive this golf club was or used to be, that even Hugh Hefner couldn't get in because apparently he's too lowbrow. However, that didn't stop the golfers on Saturday mornings from taking their sweet time going by the 14th hole to spy and see who might be passed out by the pool or which bunny might be, hopping around without any clothes on.
So that, of course, that's not happening, right?
Well, it used to happen back in the day.
Oh, back in the day.
So they wouldn't let Hefner in, but they were ogling the goods, if you will.
I see what you're saying. Okay, not now.
The holier-than-thou members of the Los Angeles Country Club. So.
Okay.
You find a photo?
No, I think I'm finding out. No, okay, it's not. I saw an Arash Markazi tweet, the former LA Times journalist, catching up with Perloff in LA, and I thought it was at the Playboy Mansion. It was not.
Okay.
No, there are no photos yet of this.
All right, well, keep
I guess
looking.
maybe they took our phones. I'm trying to think of what happened here.
Yeah, but if it's sanitized, why would they need to take your phones?
Because, Perloff finds trouble wherever he is, Maggie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they got to worry about you. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. If you did miss the last hour of the show, I'm sorry, but you missed the big moment, and that was the destruction of the Carson Wentz poster. It happened today. We're put out on our social media channels. You'll be able to find it. The poster's down. We left a tiny little piece up here for Zach Gelbin, for Ryan Hickey, come on after us, because they also wanted to get in on the action. Like, I saw Ryan outside, and I was like, hey, we are did. He's like, I know. I was like, sorry.
Yep.
We told you could get a lick in, and we didn't do it, so.
Yeah, do you feel better? I feel good right now. Like, we exercised some demons here.
Totally.
Nobody got hurt.
No, we've pulled it off.
Carson didn't get hurt. He's got $100 million in the bank. He's going to be fine.
He's going to be more than fine. Now he's working out with Gruden. Good luck with all that. Probably the last person I'd want to be seen in public with right now, but sure.
I can't get a team to sign me. Who should I work out with? Hey, how about John Gruden?
Honestly, if Saudi Arabia had a league, I feel like John Gruden would be a head coach.
Carson Wentz would be a quarterback.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, we mentioned about former Pro Bowler in the building, DeAndre Hopkins, still at the Patriots. Now, this has got to be a very encouraging sign. It's basically been 2 days that DeAndre Hopkins has been in New England. It seems like it could be one of those not letting him out of the building situations, like, hey, we really want to get this deal done before you get out of here. Don't want him maybe to get on a plane back to Tennessee, whatever it is. But it's looking more and more like DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a Patriot. We just need the final word.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, is it a situation where that you actually sign the paper while you're there on the visit,
or something? You could come up with a framework.
Okay,
you know that expression. Don't let him out of the building.
Yeah. I don't know if that's actually how it's going to work here, because I think he's sort of playing this a little bit. I feel like he's been generating a market because it doesn't feel like teams are that interested.
So Michael Lombardi, who's been a guest on this show, former general manager, he has a saying that is, if you're the one getting on the plane and going and visiting the other teams, you don't have any leverage and you don't have a market. You're trying to drum up a market for yourself, as you're saying. Because if you actually have a lot of leverage and a lot of teams want you, you don't have to go anywhere. They'll come to you. Like the Jets flew cross country to see Aaron Rodgers. That's the extreme example. But if you're really, like I remember doing a show with Bart Scott, and when Bart hit free agency, he said that the head of one of the defensive coaches and one of the heads of player personnel for the Jets were waiting outside of his house at 12:01 the day of free agency.
Yeah, that was actually a famous story.
Yeah.
That they were right there for Bart Scott.
Right there. And I think Rex might have been there with him, too.
We all assume that the deal had already been done before 12:01.
Oh, maybe. But that was the gesture. We want you so badly. We're here literally at your doorstep ringing the doorbell at 12:01.
Yeah,
which he said was wildly unnecessary, by the way. He was going to sign anyway.
DeAndre Hopkins just turned 31 on June 6th. The age, the cost. I mean, I don't know really injury history. He missed a bunch of time for PEDs. I think he's never been super fast. So I worry that people think that he's just a possession receiver now. I think that is the downside here. So if he wants Odell Beckham money, what was $15 million 1 year?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that happens. So even if New England wants him and he wants to play there, do they reach that number? New England doesn't seem like a big spending team to me at all.
No, but there's an arms race going on in the AFC East. And, if you look at what the Jets added, obviously, with Rodgers this offseason, you look at what Miami did, Jalen Ramsey, that's not a small move to bring in one of the best corners in the NFL. The Bills didn't add a ton this year, but they've finished in first place the last 3 years. So, you might have to pony up a little bit more. Now, the one thing about DeAndre Hopkins is that even if he is a little older now and had the PED thing, as you mentioned, whatever, he still is able to get separation. Like they do these sort of next-gen stats about how much separation you get from away from a defender, and his are extremely high. Now, take that for whatever it's worth. Maybe the film tells you a different story, but the numbers are favorable for him in terms of getting separation.
But at this age,
Well,
I mean, it's not going to get better.
Right now, like he's one of the guys who's good at getting separation now.
Well, at 30, but he hit that cliff.
Yep.
It happens. Also, too, I think you and I view Mac Jones a little differently. I do not, even with Bill O'Brien, an offensive coordinator, I don't think this is exactly ripe to be the greatest show on turf up in New England. I think the offense is not great. And if you have Hopkins out there, why not just double team him? Because who else is taking any attention away?
Well, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Very much a possession receiver.
Yeah, he is. I mean, you got a robust run game, and you're hoping a little more creativity with Bill O'Brien in the house. It's got to be better than Matt Patricia and Joe Judge.
Yeah, but okay, that's not exactly. I could play defense against what you just described. It's not exactly. Look, you just said Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. Look at what the Bills got going, and look at Miami. I mean, those are three high octane offenses. New England does not fit in that conversation.
No, they don't. But maybe to try to catch up as much as they can, they're not going to fully catch up to with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. But you got to come in. You can't bring a knife to a gunfight or whatever the saying is.
What about if you're Hopkins, you have a very long road to make the playoffs in New England because of that division. Do you want to go to an easier spot like Tennessee?
I don't know. I think trying to predict what a team's going to do it's a fool's errand. As much as you and I will try to do this and who's a lock to make the playoffs and all that stuff, I think Hopkins told you if he's not going to take less to go to Kansas City or Buffalo, two teams we presume are going to be playoff teams and maybe Super Bowl teams. Obviously, Kansas City is. Then
just go for the money.
Yeah, then just go for the money.
Yeah,
what
that's
else are you doing? It's a crapshoot either way. 855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227. All right, coming up, Zion Williamson. Is he actually on the trade block? We'll get to that and a deeper dive next. Don't move. Maggie, Perloff, and you. CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Watching replays of Perloff and I destroying the Carson Wentz poster with the Louisville Slugger bat, also curb stomping, really, the poster. All that stuff is looking really good. Fantastic editing job by Mike Samter. So at Maggie and Pearl on Twitter, if you want to start watching some of these. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. You can watch the full thing. Okay, got a lot going on right now in the NBA world, not just the Denver Nuggets who are partying in their parade in Denver, but also the sort of NBA hot stove, NBA free agency, whatever. For that, we turn to Jake Fischer, who, of course, is a senior NBA reporter for Yahoo Sports, wrote a fantastic book called Built to Lose, How the NBA's Tanking Era Changed the League Forever. And Jake's doing amazing reporting on this. Jake, thanks so much for joining us. How you been?
Thank you, guys. I'm doing well because that boppy waiting room house music that our listeners have no idea what I'm talking about. But I enjoyed that in my Zoom waiting room here. So thank you guys for bringing me on to that pizzazz, I guess. Yeah,
you're welcome. The Weedos and the Purple Drinkers in our chat know exactly what you're talking about. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio if you want to watch, Jake. So Bradley Beal, you've done some reporting on Beal, on Harden, etc. But let's start with Beal for a moment. I mean, I think people kind of forget, Jake, he's a really good player. You know, he's been kind of wasting away a little bit in D.C. What's the market like for Beal, who is already under a massive contract, but is still, I believe, on the right side of 30?
He's turning 30 in a couple weeks. Okay. So we're getting close. We're getting close. And he is a very good player. He's been a much better player, before the last 2 seasons where durability issues have really started to plague both him and the Wizards' ultimate success. The thing about his trade market, though, is not really so focused on that aspect of it. It's the fact that he's the only player in the NBA who has a no trade clause that comes attached to a 5-year contract over $250 million that still has 4 years, 200 left. So under this new approaching CBA landscape that, kicks in on July 1st, June 30th at 6 p.m., that type of window, it's going to be difficult to find a lot of teams that are willing to actually pay a pretty high premium to bring him on into their tax structure, being that no trade clause doesn't go anywhere. So if doesn't work out like Russell Westbrook didn't work out with the Lakers, or it doesn't work out like James Harden didn't work out with Brooklyn, you're still going to have multiple years, well over $50 million in salary, where he can prevent you from getting off his contract once again.
Jake, do teams around the league view Beal as a missing piece on a title contender? And if so, what's the team there you think they could add a Beal and be right there as contenders?
He does have that wing connective type of skill set where he could absolutely thrive off of lead guards like he did with John Wall back before Wall's injuries, and he ended up heading out the door. His best season of his career came with Russell Westbrook 2-3 years ago, before Westbrook got moved to Los Angeles. So you see Miami popping up, and they've been the team that's been, from my understanding, at or near the top of Bradley Beal's own wish list for 3 years now, because every summer we go back to whether or not Bradley Beal wants to stick around in Washington. So the Heat are absolutely a team to keep an eye on in that championship conversation, to your point, Perloff. And I think, depending on what type of outgoing package goes out for the Wizards, there's still going to be a lot of talent left. Jimmy Butler's not heading out the door in that scenario. Bam Adebayo's not. So just looking at that right there, Bradley Beal will be a pretty nice piece to slot next to those two guys.
Tell you what, that contract got signed, and the day it was signed with Bradley Beal is like, when are both sides going to want to get out of this thing? It was like you knew it when the pen hit the paper that this was no good. Jake Fischer is joining us. He's Yahoo Sports senior NBA writer. Before we get to Harden and Dame, because I know we're on in Portland, Oregon, so everyone's very interested in what's going on with Dame. Got to ask you about Zion. So this kind of popped up maybe out of nowhere a little bit, feels like it. He has an extension that's about to kick in, but now could possibly be on the trade block before the draft. Jake, how much are you buying that?
So I think all this stuff that's popping up, to your point, Maggie, is because of this new second apron that's really quickly approaching, and every single team does not want to go through that next tax threshold where there are going to be harsher penalties where you're going to have draft picks frozen in the future. So it's going to limit your flexibility to make ongoing trades. And for the Pelicans, where they've already got Brandon Ingram on a massive maximum contract, Zion's new deal kicks in, you're going to have to pay other guys like Trey Murphy and Herb Jones if they stick around, not to mention Dyson Daniels, who they just picked last year in the lottery. Plus they've got another lottery pickup coming here. It makes sense for the Pelicans to look at potential opportunities to offload Zion, being that he hasn't really played in 4 seasons in the NBA. People want to compare him to Joel Embiid. Joel missed his first 2 years. He had a pretty strong rookie season, and since then he's been on the court minimum 50 games every single year. Zion's kind of past that in terms of question marks at this point. So you couple it with the fact that both Charlotte at 2 and Portland at 3 are very open to listening to offers. And Scoot Henderson is someone that I've been told, and it's been reported pretty widely, that the Pelicans really do value. I think it's natural for his name to come up. But to your question, I am very skeptical that they actually do end up parting with him, because I think the Pelicans would think it would take more than the second or the third pick to get off of him. And I think Portland and Charlotte would probably have to think that might not be worth it for their while. So it's kind of a catch-22 there.
You don't think Portland would do that deal, hypothetically, if Scoot fell to 3 and New Orleans called and said, we'll give you Zion, they wouldn't be interested?
I think they would have to be interested and have to talk about it. But when you think about the mechanics, they have to send out a lot of salary to match Zion's 40-something, at that 194 number. So you can't just send out 3. You're going to also have to send out Yusuf Nurkic and potentially, Anthony Simons and other pieces that at that point, when you start to think about it, it might get a little too expensive for Portland's interest there.
Jake, I was a little disappointed in your latest column on Yahoo, because I'm a 76ers fan, and you basically reported that they want to keep Harden, and they're not interested in Beal, and it doesn't seem like they're really expanding their net about who they're going to add around Joel Embiid. Does it seem to you like it's headed that direction where Harden is going to go back to Philadelphia?
Right now, on Thursday, June 15th, if I had to place a wager on it, I would say yes. I do think signs are shifting that direction, let's say. I mean, the Houston thing, certainly seems real still. The Rockets are absolutely operating with the idea that he could be coming, and they're looking at guys like Brook Lopez and Dylan Brooks who could pair with him. But I mean, Philly's pulling out all the stops that I probably shouldn't even go further on, looking at potential ramifications there to bring this guy back. And to your point about like secondary options and exit strategies, if he does leave, I don't think Philly's going to overreact here. I mean, the thought of, trade Tyrese Maxey to go get somebody, they value Tyrese Maxey pretty highly. Tobias Harris is probably the best trade chip and a 2030 first-round pick that Philly will get access to here once the draft begins. That's kind of their best avenue to try to find, maybe turn Tobias' salary into two players that he's going to be making $39 million in the final year of his 5-year, $180 million contract. So that's probably their best route and their most pragmatic route to upgrading this roster around Joel Embiid in the event Harden does go.
Jake Fischer, Yahoo Sports senior NBA writer. Okay, I mentioned last one for you. We're on in Portland. So this is like the yearly exercise that we do with Dame Lillard, but is there really a chance this year? I mean, he mentioned already Miami was a place he would like to go. Funny, everyone wants to go to Miami. It's interesting. He also mentioned Brooklyn, though, which is interesting, too. Is he going to get moved this offseason? If you had to handicap it, how would you put it?
So if we take everyone at their word, Portland saying we're not going to do anything other than try to build around Dame, and Dame saying, well, if you don't get this type of, player to raise our ceiling for the championship, then I'm going to be asking out of here. You have to start playing process of elimination and see if the Blazers actually can get somebody who can really raise Portland's ceiling. And it's going to be difficult. Like, outside of throwing a really large offer at Chicago for someone like Zach LaVine, or, Pascal Siakam from Portland, or OG Anunoby from Portland, I don't really see too many players who are veterans, who have proven to have success in the postseason, that are actually on teams that are willing to go move off of a established player like that for a top pick. Like, Jaylen Brown is not available for Portland's dreamiest ideas of pairing Dame with a two-way wing like that. So at this point, I feel like it's a wait and see. Those dominoes you mentioned about, like, Miami, everyone wants to go to Miami. If the Heat all of a sudden go and get Bradley Beal this week and that option's gone for Dame, if Brooklyn, makes some other moves that takes them off the table, and all of a sudden he's looking around and saying there's really nothing else out there for me anyway, maybe he sticks around. A lot of this stuff is kind of like one of those exercises that we do in grade school where there's like column A and column B, and you have to draw lines to the matching pairs and stuff like that. At a certain point, if you're the last guy left in column A and there's no teams left in column B, you kind of just might be, stuck with the situation that you're in. I'm not saying Dame would feel stuck, but he's not going to request a trade until he feels like it's absolutely necessary.
Okay, before I let you go, Jake, Maggie, we have to break down a tweet that went super viral by a former colleague.
Okay.
Our buddy Andrew Sharp tweeted something yesterday that took off and dominated the internet, and I fell for it. He tweeted, I know the Spurs like Wemby, but if a guy like Beal is available, you got to wonder whether Pop considers putting that pick on the table. Something to keep an eye on. Now, Andrew Sharp, I don't know him that well. I did not know that he was assuming now he's going to be sarcastic. I read it at first, and like everybody assumed that he was being serious.
You want to know why? This has nothing to do actually with Andrew Sharp. This is about you and I being the only people, I think, on earth who are even a tad bit skeptical about Victor Wembanyama. Now, it's the body type, it's the grind of the 82-game season, it's everything that comes with, I think you wanted to read into that.
That could be. It's just the way Andrew worded this. By the way, he got 2 million views, 4,000 likes. It's his biggest tweet ever. It went crazy. Nobody understood he was kidding. Jake, he's totally kidding, right?
He's totally kidding. The Spurs aren't considering trading number one at all. And honestly, any thought about them being like aggressive with their cap space here to try to make a play-in push around Victor, I'm skeptical of that too. I think they're going to slow roll this thing, bake him slowly in the oven, and wait for him to come out and the whole team to come out, just a perfectly shaped cake ready for,
I told you.
Maggie said that the other day.
Wait, Jake,
she said that to me, that they're not going to play him 40 minutes a game.
I want every bet in the universe that he doesn't play 50 games this year. I mean, the Spurs are like the load management, OGs. Like they're going to bring him along at a snail's pace. Jake Fischer, Yahoo Sports senior NBA writer. You can read all of his stuff, and this is a cool time of year for people in your industry, Jake. So thanks so much, and congrats again on the book.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Okay.
God, that Andrew Sharp tweet ruined my night.
It's got 2 million views.
Everybody I know commented on it, because I swear it's such a dry wording. Twitter it can fool you like that. Because does that read to you? I'm joking? No, it doesn't at all. But then you think, wait, why would Greg Popovich want Bradley Beal at age 30 instead of Victor Wembanyama? I'm like, well, how could I be so dumb? And usually you make fun of me when I get duped by the internet.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorite pastimes. But I do think it's interesting that you and I really feel like the only people who are even just have a tiny, just a little bit of a fraction, more than a fraction of doubt.
Oh, definitely.
Everyone else is hook, line, and sinker on Wembanyama. CeeLo, are you a hook, line, and sinker Wembanyama?
No, because I don't follow it closely enough, to be quite honest.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen the highlights. It looks tremendous, but can I see him play here against the NBA?
He's playing once a week over there.
I got burned by Sean Bradley, who's built like Wembanyama. You could put together a foreign highlight reel of anybody and have them look completely amazing, because nobody plays defense in Europe.
Yeah.
So he's 19, skinny as all get out. He's got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
I like your idea of slow rolling for that reason. And B, there's just nobody who's 7'4" in the league who's dominating anymore. It's not a model that's been working.
Also, who do you think he's going to play for? Tom Thibodeau? Like the Spurs are, will rest anybody at any time. They want to. I told you this is going to be like.
But why do you have to rest
Strasburg?
He's 19. You're saying he's 19. He should be able to play.
I don't. Who thinks that way in this day and age in the NBA? No one plays.
Think about when Porzingis came in. He missed a lot of time. He got hurt a lot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I did recently read that next year's draft is historically bad for the NBA. So there's no reason for the Spurs to tank again.
Right.
I mean, maybe there is, but people are saying that there's nobody left.
Well, that's why everyone and their mom is trying to package picks to get up in this draft. Like you'll notice a lot of teams have 2 first-round picks, and this is the year they want to unload them.
Okay. I'm sorry, because I know we got to go to a sports update. Why do the Sixers want James Harden back? Jake said, no, they don't want Beal. They don't want Lillard. Why do they not want these guys? They want to.
Because they don't want to give up anybody.
Okay.
But again, why not change things up? What's running it back going to give you? Let me guess. 2nd round exit.
It's just Daryl Morey.
Before we have it.
It's just Daryl Morey, James Harden love affair. We got to split those guys up.
Break up the Sixers. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, got more for you, including the latest that we've heard on one free agent who has some interesting demands. We'll get to that in just a moment after this CBS Sports Update with Chris Lopresti.
Sports Flag.
All right, well, for 127 years, there were 0 62s shot in a U.S. Open round. But today at Los Angeles Country Club, in a span of 22 minutes, a pair of them were completed. First, Ricky Fowler, and then followed shortly thereafter by Xander Schauffele. Also matches the lowest round in major championship history, equaled only by Brandon Grace in the 2017 British Open. So you've got Fowler and Schauffele at 8 under par. Bryson DeChambeau and Scottie Scheffler both in a part of a tie for third at 3 under par, 5 shots behind. Early going, Phil Mickelson and Rory McIlroy are both 2 under through their first 2 holes in the evening wave. Meantime, the Wall Street Journal reports the U.S. Department of Justice has opened a review of the planned alliance between the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. Check out the baseball scoreboard. Rays and A's wrapping up their series in Oakland. That game is tied at 3 at the end of 6. Phillies lead the Diamondbacks 5-4 in the top half of the 7th. And the Orioles earlier today beat the Blue Jays in Baltimore 4-2. NBA veteran forward Danilo Gallinari has reportedly exercised his $6.5 $28 million player option to return to the Celtics next season. And after nearing a full recovery from the torn ACL that caused him to miss this past season, he would be set to make his Boston debut coming up in the fall. I'm Chris Lopresti.
Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff, what a day it has been around here.
There are little
Shards.
fragments of foam everywhere
Yeah.
from the Carson Wentz poster.
Which was a lot stronger than we anticipated it was going to be.
Do we have to clean this up? What's the official policy of the office on this?
We'll get it.
I mean,
this place
people-
hasn't been cleaned since like 1980.
People-
I doubt they're gonna notice.
People on other shows hated the Carson Wentz poster, but I don't think they like mess either. So
No, we'll clean it all up.
what do we do with this poster? It's in 3 big chunks right now.
It goes in the garbage.
Just throw it out?
Yeah, we're throwing it out. That's the whole point.
Don't you want to keep it and torture it some more?
Yeah, I'm definitely taking a piece home with me.
You are? Was it like the hardwood at the Garden, like in Boston?
This is going to be framed in the Radio Hall of Fame someday.
I'm getting it
Carson
signed by
Wentz poster.
Perloff, and then I'm going to sell it for billions.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that plan.
What that guy who called in and said there was a typo and we had just ruined a $500 poster?
Then we believed it. Yeah, fooled everybody on that. Let's get to the shot of the day.
He shoots!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. Okay, so if you didn't hear what it sounded like, and actually this is going to be us hearing it for the first time too. What did it sound like to destroy a Carson Wentz poster on live radio? All right, Weedos, Purple Drinkers, this is for you.
Yes! Yes!
All right, now Perloff, here you go.
I'm going to go like Office Space and do it sort of with the other end of the bat.
Whoa, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, rip it. Maggie can't rip it. All right, let's both of us try. This thing is tougher than the actual Carson Wentz.
Yeah. You said this thing is tougher than the actual Carson Wentz. You hit me with the loser game show sound. I deserved it.
And did someone say that you were sort of trying to play it up like you could remember? You were trying as hard as you could. You could almost see veins popping in your arms.
Yeah,
you were ripping as hard as you possibly could.
I'm not trying to save this thing. I was trying to destroy it. So that was a little of what it sounded like. If you want to watch any of it, our social channels, Maggie and Pearl on Twitter, of course, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Of course, we're Maggie and Perloff on Instagram. Yeah.
I kind of want to spend some final moments with this cover. It's been a big part of my life.
No.
It's been with me for a long time. It's not just Carson Wentz, too. Don't forget the subhead, Boris Diaw, subtle star, even for the Spurs on page 36.
Yeah.
And, what about the Boris Diaw story?
Yeah.
Are we just going to forget about that?
You know what? It's funny because since then, the Spurs have gone through a full tank, enough so to land the number 1 pick in this year's draft.
Who is also French, like Boris Diaw.
That's
Full
true.
circle.
Yeah, and Diaw, I think, was vouching for him, and that's Wembanyama.
And was Boris Diaw a star in 2016? I don't remember that stage.
Who knows? Okay, turning to a couple other basketball things. I teased it before the break about one free agent who is making some demands. So according to Ira Winderman, who has been covering the Heat for a long time, legend down there in Miami, covering the Heat, Kyrie wants to come to Miami. Now, just like put him in line with everyone else and their mom who's trying to get to Miami in free agency. But the idea of Kyrie Irving gelling with Jimmy Butler seems like the oddest, most ridiculous pair in the NBA.
Wait.
How would they ever get along?
What do you mean? Well, I mean, Kyrie's been with a bunch of weird superstars, KD, Harden. You think Butler is so strong-headed that he'd clash with Kyrie?
Definitely. I think that Butler's he's like an alpha type of guy. And I think it's in practice, and I think he's really hard on everyone. I think he's hard on himself. but he's like an obvious alpha. And I don't know, isn't Kyrie also trying to be the leader? And
yeah, but every NBA player has this deference to Kyrie Irving. It's bizarre. I bet you Jimmy does too. I'll bet you Jimmy, you're right, it might not end up working out, but I'll bet you Jimmy Butler's sitting there and saying, nobody else can score on this team in the fourth quarter. They couldn't get more than 94 points in their losses. I think right now, like many people have done in the NBA, Jimmy's probably talking himself into Kyrie Irving.
I mean, you have a good thing going here with Miami. I mean, you've been now to 2 finals in the last 4 years. Everyone wants to go to Miami. It seems like if you really wanted to, you'd be the top pick of every player who's either a free agent, and everyone who's even not a free agent wants to get there.
So realistically, who's the best guy to add to that mix right now to take them over the hump? Is it Kyrie?
No, I think it's well, Kyrie at least has proven it in the finals, but
he's a scorer. I mean,
but that was also a long time ago now.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll give you a couple other options. Damian Lillard?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Dame. I think that's interesting.
Beal?
I think Beal's interesting, but, you know, these guys have not had that finals experience.
Okay.
Dame's been closer, but.
I'll tell you one name who would help him.
Who's that?
Who we know he likes, Joel Embiid.
Yeah, but I don't think Philly's trying to do that.
Yeah, no, I think.
For who? Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson?
In a year or two, I'm not saying right now. But it does seem, if you're going to pair somebody with Jimmy Butler to get over the top, a point guard to me is not the first thing I think of. I think of size.
Yeah.
Like Anthony Davis with LeBron.
Yep.
But they do need that extra scorer. I think they'd be better with Kyrie or Dame. Don't you? But I don't know. You're saying that the chemistry would blow up with Kyrie Irving.
I just can't imagine these guys even having dinner together, let alone playing an 82-game season.
People love Kyrie, though. The players love Kyrie Irving. Even Jimmy.
Yeah.
I mean,
do they love him when he's like all of a sudden leaking to Shams Charania that he wants to be traded? I don't know.
There seems to be this weird loyalty. I mean, what we know about Jimmy and the way he interacts with teammates is that commercial where he's singing "I Only Want to Be With You" on the plane,
Yeah.
and he's trying to get everyone to sing. He loves country music.
Yeah.
He seems like a bit of an
Hootie and the
eccentric.
Blowfish.
Yeah, he's a bit eccentric. I don't know. I wouldn't rule it out. I think Miami desperately needs another big piece. So if it ends up being Kyrie, that's not ideal. Yeah, of course you would want to add a superstar, but you're not going to get, I don't know who you're not going to get a guy who's perfect. So you might as well take Kyrie. And you know I'm not a big Kyrie guy.
And he's going to leave the organization in tatters just like he's done in 2 other places. RPC in the chat, today was a glorious day. I love you, Weedos and Purple Drinkers, and the feeling is mutual. If you missed any part of us destroying the Carson Wentz poster, again, all of our social media channels right there on YouTube if you want, or Twitter, Maggie Pearl, Facebook, Maggie and Perloff, where it's already uploaded to Facebook, and go check it out. So now we wait another NBA story, which is Ja Morant. Yeah. Now, Adam Silver, the commissioner, had said didn't want to bog down the finals with this punishment for Ja Morant. So now the finals are over. Got a couple days now, about a week or so before the draft. So is this the sweet spot to finally drop the hammer on Ja? And what do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, but what is the sweet spot? Because you don't want to overwhelm the draft. So you're thinking Monday or Tuesday? Or Friday news dump? How about that?
The day after the draft?
No, tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Yeah, maybe that's interesting. Listen, if it's really that big of a suspension, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to bury it. You know, there are some news stories that just like can't, you know, it's like president indicted. Like you're not going to be able to move off this stuff.
Yeah.
Former president.
NBA announces new partnership with charity. Oh, and by the way, Ja Morant's out for a year. Talk to you guys later. Have a good weekend.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Got a happy hour to get to. I think it's going to be significant. They might drop it tomorrow. Who knows? But I think it's probably like 50.
Okay. Let's do a bet.
I don't know if it warrants 50 because here's the thing. I don't know if this is actually about suspending somebody or is this actually about trying to help someone sort of change their behavior.
Well, they tried that already.
I know 8-game suspension and going to like fake rehab is not going to do it.
I want to make a bet with you.
Okay.
I don't know what the stakes are.
I can't do another eating bet for a while. We got to do yeah.
I'll bet it's closer to 82 than 50.
I would take that bet.
And I know, I think you might win that bet, but I think that Adam Silver's so angry because Ja Morant just bold-faced lied to him in the New York office. I think they're going to come down incredibly hard. Unless it's a toy gun, which then I take it off the table, but I don't think that's the case.
No, but here's the thing. as much as Silver might be upset personally that Morant may have misled him or whatever, Adam Silver's job is to always be thinking about the NBA and what's best for the NBA. And is John Morant out for a whole year best for the NBA? I don't know how you can make that case.
No, but I don't think you still have LeBron in the league next year. You could probably afford a year off of Ja. They don't really highlight
the Jokic glow, the guy who doesn't want to be here.
Yeah, I mean they don't feature the Grizzlies that much. They could survive a year without Ja. I think sending the right message is important to them. And also, I don't know, I'm getting this confused. Like, Calvin really goes away for a year for gambling in the NFL. I guess it's gambling, but the NFL would come down hard because they hate lying more than anything.
Yeah, but the the NFL is also not a superstar-driven league.
Yeah, you're right. It's more about the teams.
Yeah. So it's a different kind of calculus. Wow, this has been one heck of a show today. I feel like 5 pounds lighter with this Carson Wentz poster gone.
Also, you've been working out a lot since you ate a jar of jelly.
I did. That was the biggest motivation to get on a treadmill my entire life. Not even my wedding was a big enough motivation than having to work off a jar of jelly.
Yeah.
So this has been a heck of a week, but obviously we'll be here with you guys tomorrow too. But this Wentz poster is gone. The videos were going to be up everywhere. So thanks for being a part of it.
I'm so excited. And the fact that we had so much going on, we don't have to do the wing challenge is just such a relief.
We got to keep an eye on Perloff, by the way. Samter, Stu, Brooke, we got to hold him accountable or else he's going to try to wiggle out of this thing. I can see it now.
I'm just hoping you guys all forget about it. I guess the more I bring it up, the more trouble I'm in.
We're not going to forget about it. I want to do a special thank you to the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers today. You guys were fantastic. Thank you to Mike Samter, Stu Kovacs. Thanks to Brooke. Thank you to Jake Fischer, who joined us earlier. We will see you tomorrow. No more Carson poster.
You're in a 5-minute break.